subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Eyes widened. Luffy continued, "That's right. This uncle is actually a descendant of Mont Blanc Nolando, because Nolando is regarded by the world as a big liar. So his descendants, also generations, are ridiculed. And what this uncle wants to do is to find the truth." Wappa is extremely shocked. I didn't expect God to make a joke 400 years ago, which caused a whole family to suffer ridicule for 400 years. Thinking of this, Wappa stepped sideways out of the way and said in a deep voice, "Friend from King High, come over and light the lamp of Shandora? You are taking 40. The promise made 0 years ago came, and only when you ring the golden bell with your own hands can you fulfill the long-cherished wish of your ancestors 400 years ago." Wappa shouted loudly, "Okay. Thank you for allowing us to fulfill our promise to Uncle Coolie Guy." Luffy smiled and said he walked toward the base of the golden clock and walked up the stone step by step the moment when Luffy rings the golden bell. The sky is blue and the clouds are white. In a daze, a red-haired warrior with a spear in his hand and a chestnut-headed man in a black windbreaker seemed to quietly appear in the sky. The two look at each other and smile, then dissipate with the wind afterwards. The members of the Straw Hat Pirates went up one by one to have a good time, and they rang the golden bell one after another. When I came down, Robin suddenly noticed the material of the base of the golden clock. This is... She subconsciously stretched out her hand to push away the branches attached to the surface. History text. Several members of the Straw Hat Pirates exclaimed at the same time. All the surrounding Sky Island people cast their gazes over. After some explanations, Robin and Luffy came to translate the text on this historical text. Luffy is currently a half translation, basically half translation, and half Buggy couldn't understand either, and walked to the side boredly. However, when he walked to the side of the historical lineup stele, he suddenly said in surprise, There is also the same type of text here, but only a short sentence?" Robin came over, his beautiful eyes narrowed slightly, and he started to read. "I have been here and brought this article to the end of the world. Signed, Pirate Gold Roger." Captain Roger. When he heard this name, Buggy was shocked and exclaimed. At this time, Gonfort said, "Is Roger's name written on it? If I remember the time correctly, he is a pirate from King High who came here many years ago. The captain actually came here, and then I came here too." Buggy's eyes show shock. Roger was born in East Blue, and when he arrived here from East Blue, Buggy hadn't boarded the boat yet, but now, when Buggy followed the Straw Hat Pirates and set sail again, also departed from East Blue. And now I have come to the place where Roger used to be. Is this a coincidence? At this time, Gonfort looked at Luffy again. "Speaking of which, your straw hat is really similar to Roger's straw hat. Could it be that he gave it to you?" Luffy was taken aback for a moment, then laughed. No. Shanks gave me my straw hat. The gear of fate." Buggy's eyes zoomed in. He hugged his head, shocked. "I didn't expect Shanks to give you this straw hat." When the Roger Pirates went to Raftel, he couldn't keep up. His captain is actually the one who inherited Roger's legacy. God, what? Shanks. However, hearing Luffy say that now, he was completely stunned. And this time, when he embarked on the journey with the wish to go to Raftel again. At that time, he also wondered if Luffy's straw hat belonged to Shanks. Shanks will inherit his legacy and become the next generation of One Piece. So Buggy didn't think about that again. So amazing. "Luffy, you are wrong. This straw hat belongs to Captain Roger." When the Roger Pirates disbanded, the captain gave his straw hat to Shanks. He thought at the time that the straw hat was given to Shanks by Captain Roger. How could Shanks give it to someone else? When he met Luffy for the first time, he felt that Luffy's straw hat looked familiar. When I heard this, Buggy's eyeballs were about to pop out. No, Shanks didn't give you the straw hat. He must have entrusted Captain Roger's legacy to you. Chapter 114 True, Per Capita, Maramara Fruit. Please subscribe. Shanks, The Buggy over there is stunned. How can fate be so magical, Joel D. Roger? This is also very good. At the beginning, you two little guys, one passed on my will to Luffy, and the other will go to Raftel with Luffy. Haha, great. Buggy, Captain, do you really approve of Straw Hat Kid? GOLD, Roger. Yeah, totally approved. Edward Newgate. Gula la 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 la. Nanny? Is this straw hat of mine actually the hat of Roger, the Pirate King? When Buggy said that, Luffy was also very surprised. I never expected that the straw hat of One Piece would appear in a small village in East Blue, and it was outrageously reached in his hands. He still remembers that when the Red Hair Pirates were about to leave Windmill Village, the Red Hair said that he would leave the straw hat to him as a souvenir. Luffy never expected that the straw hat has such a special meaning. Suddenly, he looked at Buggy. Wait a minute. Why do you know so clearly? Dash. Although Luffy guessed some possibility, but he still wants to hear Buggy say it himself. Buggy looked at Luffy. Of course I know. Because Shanks and I were both interns of Roger Pirates. What? The rest of the Straw Hat Pirates all opened their mouths in horror. My God, after a long time, we still have the crew of the original One Piece on board. Call. Although I guessed it, Luffy still feels very shocked. I also think this is amazing. Shanks gave him Roger's hat, saw Roger's message here on Sky Island, and Buggy said it all, as if it is destined in the dark. But then he drove this ridiculous idea out of his mind. There is no such thing as predestined. Everything is just a matter of man-made. After the Shandora's Lamp incident is over, the Straw Hat Pirates are preparing to leave Sky Island. Because of this matter, the Sandia people are full of gratitude to the Straw Hat Pirates. And the Angels are also very grateful to the Straw Hat Pirates because of Enel's time. Now the Straw Hat Pirates are leaving, they will give a huge golden pillar to the Straw Hat Pirates. Afterwards, the Mary came to Coney's house and began to move a lot of breeding equipment. Sound shells, light shells, image shells, water shells, taste shells, wind shells, blowing wind shells, flame shells, hot shells, water shells, flash shells, impact shells. These have brought a lot. Don't worry about not having seedlings to cultivate in the future. As for Pai-Bai, there is really no living one. Although the great warrior Wappa has a platoon shell, it is the corpse of a platoon shell and cannot be bred. A whole set of farming ecosystem was moved to the rear deck of the Melee. Although according to Luffy's idea, the seawater in King High is estimated to be able to grow these shellfish after certain adjustments. But for the sake of insurance, they brought 100 full of empty seawater. Although the water shell is small in size, don't doubt its capacity. In Sky Island, water shells can be used as firefighting tools. One can imagine how much seawater a water shell can hold. Mary came to Bai next to Angel Beach and then landed directly in Bai with a Luffy hot air balloon afterwards. Zoro pierced through the White Sea again, and the Mary fell from the White Sea. When they landed in King High, everyone looked up at the sky. Subconsciously, it was an unreal feeling, as if I just experienced a fantasy adventure dream. Look at me, Maramara fruit. Usopp's palm is attached to a flame shell. Facing the sea is a burst of flames. I'm also a Maramara fruit capable. Nami's hands are breathing fire. It's spectacular, haha. We are all Maramara fruit capable users. After all, it is a toy that I cultivated hard, and everyone is very happy to play Pork as Ace. This per capita Maramara fruit ability, as an ability user of Maramara fruit, seeing others can breathe fire at will. His mood is a bit broken at this time, Charlotte Owen. I can understand your feelings, seeing those hot shells. I feel that my fruit ability is also Rotten Crane. Your focus is wrong. Obviously, water shells are the most threatening weapon. Charlotte Linlin. You mean the water shells are filled with sea water, posing a threat to capable users? Shiki. Hey, it seems that this is indeed possible. If this is the case, the water shell has become a treasure. I don't know if there are any water shells on the Sky Island here. I will fly over to see when I find time. GOLD Roger. If you have some, bring me some Shiki. It's easy to say. When the beauty arrived at Gaia Island again, Luffy and his group met with Coolie Guy again, and everyone had a lively banquet together. 2 days later, the Mary arrived in Magic Valley Town. Luffy wrapped his arms around the golden clock and jumped directly onto the pier. He shouted, "Everyone come and have a look. Whoever can lift this golden pillar will give it to him." Afterwards, Luffy jumped up, inserted the golden pillar directly into the ground, and then went back to the Mary. The eyes of the pirates on the pier were completely attracted by this huge golden pillar. Some of the young people rushed to the town to report this to their captain. Soon, the news spread completely in Magic Valley Town. Seeing more and more pirates coming to the pier, Luffy's back molars are all exposed when he smiles. Nami kept flipping through the reward booklet and kept talking about how much that is. His mouth was full of joy. Such a huge golden pillar, it is impossible for a single pirate to pull out. Get out of the way. That person is coming. It's over. He's here. This golden pillar must belong to him. The people of the great pirates are coming. Their captain, Red Potato, is a power user who has the power of the fruit, and it is infinite. With the emergence of the largest pirate force currently staying in a certain ancient town, the pirates on the pier automatically created a passage. Red Potato brought a group of vicious pirates to the golden pillar. He is nearly 3 meters tall. With both hands, the force fruit ability is activated. Boom, as the ground cracked. Kuda's golden pillar was picked up by him. He laughed loudly. Such a big golden pillar is mine now. Boom, the terrifying Conqueror's Haki pressure instantly covered the audience. At the pier, there's no one standing at the pier. Yeah, it's yours now. But now it's my trophy. Luffy leaned on the railing, chuckled, and then said to his partners. A few hours later, the Straw Hat Pirates and their team finished loading all these pirates. 2 big boats are loaded. When the Mary left Mogu Town with 2 big ships, after a long time, dozens of figures appeared one after another in the streets and alleys of Magic Valley Town. Either they didn't go to watch the fun, or they didn't catch up to watch the fun. I didn't expect to escape because of this. Everyone patted their hearts. It feels so good to be alive. Shiki, this guy, really treats pirates as cash machines. Gold Roger. Although this will damage the reputation of pirates, it seems to be a way to make a fortune. Kazuki Odin, a bounty hunter in pirate skin. Sengoku. If all pirates could be like them, then the number of people harmed by pirates would be greatly reduced. Edward Newgate. Did you hear me right? Sengoku is actually speaking for Red Luffy. Sengoku. I'm just telling the truth. Gion. The marshal is right. Although the Red Luffy over there finally became a pirate, but their way of catching pirates for bounties actually indirectly helped many civilians. Monkey D. Garp. Stupid Luffy. Look at the Red Luffy. Learn. Monkey D. Luffy. Oh. Gaia Island is quite far from the next island, Lilith Island. Normally, it may take 10 days to half a month to sail. However, it only took 5 days for the Mary and the 2 cargo ships to arrive. The reason is very simple, because the Straw Hat Pirates have more than 200 jets. Among them, 200 blast shells were deducted from Enel's Arc Proverbs. This is a product that Enel has stored for several years, and it turned out to be cheaper than the Straw Hat Pirates. That night, the full moon is like a bucket. The bright moonlight illuminates the 7th branch of Marine very brightly. But this does not prevent the 5 members of the Straw Hats from doing things. Wooden stick in hand, I have the world. No one knocked in with a crackling when I came to the base chief's bedroom. Who? Lucky Commodore got up from the bed in a hurry. He looked at the 5 black shadows that suddenly broke in and shouted, "This is the base of the 7th branch of the Marine. You people are crazy." Just about to use the name of Marine to threaten the opponent, but suddenly, Loki Commodore's eyes lit up. FK, isn't this my god of wealth? Asking for flowers. Before he was a colonel in the 19th branch of the Marine for several years, not only did he not get any lucrative money, but this rank has never been promoted until that day. 5 thugs attacked at night. Not only did he have a small private treasury, but he was also directly promoted to Commodore because he captured a large number of pirates. He originally thought that Commodore was the end of his life, and he spent the rest of his life in Lilith Island, but he never expected that the original 5 big benefactor actually appeared again. This makes him so excited. If it wasn't for saving face, Loki Commodore would directly knock one of the 5 people in front of him for the truth now. I'm sorry, you sleep for a while. Luffy walked over with a wooden stick. Wait. Loki Commodore shouted suddenly. Luffy was a little confused. subconsciously stopped. Is this guy going to fight again? Locky Commodore looks around in the bedroom. Seems to be looking for something. No, I have to have a sense of participation in something as important as getting promoted and getting rich, he muttered in a voice that only he could hear. Then he looked toward the wall. Don't bother everyone. I'll do it myself. Locky Commodore slammed his head against the wall and passed out neatly. Luffy looked back at the four people behind him with a dazed expression. The four of them shook their heads at the same time. Don't look at us. We don't understand, Hina. Isn't this? Colonel Rocky. Loki Hem. The me over there is Commodore now. Sprach man up. Ah blah blah. I said, why does this guy look so familiar? It turned out to be Colonel Marine, who was knocked out by the Straw Hat Pirates before. Ex-Drake. I remember. He said that those pirates that the Straw Hat Pirates took for bounties were captured by him through bloody battles. And then he was promoted because of this match. Shiki. Jiahahaha. The Horseman. So this is the talent. Why does he look familiar? GOLD Roger. This guy. It's unlucky for others to meet the Straw Hat Pirates. But when he meets the Straw Hat Pirates, he will be promoted directly and get rich. Ha! Edward Newgate. Look at the situation. This time you have to get promoted and get rich? Marco haha. The Straw Hat Pirates brought so many pirates this time. If he caught all of them, I'm afraid they would be directly promoted to Rear Admiral. Guion, as far as the matter is concerned, the number of pirates with a large base, not to mention being promoted to Rear Admiral, even the merits of being promoted to Vice Admiral are enough. Of course, if the strength is not enough, it should only be promoted to Rear Admiral. When the 5 members of the Straw Hat Pirates came out of the vault at the base of the 7th branch of the Marine, everyone brought a lot of treasure chests. As expected of the 7th branch. Really rich. More than 1 billion Baileys. Usopp shouted excitedly. Buggy also opened his mouth and said, actually, I also feel a bit familiar. But I don't remember where I saw it. In addition to the 2.9 billion Baileys, there are many treasures obtained from pirates, and the huge golden clock of Sky Island, and now. The Straw Hat Pirates are also facing a very important problem. When the Straw Hat Bandit 5 returned to the Mary, the value of the Mary soared to 2.9 billion Baileys. Zoro nodded. Yes, but there is no way. We can't stay with them any longer. It's still early until the next Marine base. Luffy scratched his head. It's not an important matter anyway, so he just didn't think about it. But Buggy said unhappily, we are still at a loss. The number of those pirates, let alone 2 billion Baileys. The other 4 people immediately praised Luffy for being smart. However, Luffy laughed. It's okay. I've written down how much money is missing. When we exchange bounties next time, if they have extra money in their treasury, there is too much money and there is not enough melee electricity. When a screen arrives here, the red-framed video slowly fades away. Okay. If these things are exchanged for money, it is conservatively estimated that the total assets of the Straw Hat Pirates will be upwards of 5 billion. -1. With this trouble, the melee set off again, heading toward the next island, the Changhuan Islands. Let's make it up again and again. 191. Don't think about it. We came all the way from the Grand Line. How could we have seen him? I guess he has a public face. Usopp shrugged his shoulders, huh? By the way, that Marine officer just now looks familiar to me. Luffy said suspiciously. Chapter 115 Snow Flies. Use on a melee. Please subscribe. Not long the screen with white borders gradually brightened. The screen appears Luffy and his party arrive at the Long Ring Islands. First, I met the old man Dongjite who was trapped on the island alone. After that, the Fokker West Blue Bandits appeared, and the huge pirate ship trapped the Mary, and they wanted to fight the pirates. The two sides had a duel of 3 silver coins, and finally the Straw Hat Pirates won the opponent's pirate flag, and Luffy also drew a super ugly pirate flag for the opponent. And then, Marine Admiral Akiji appeared. In the case of almost killing all the Straw Hat Pirates, Akiji finally showed mercy to the Straw Hat Pirates and left. Afterwards, the Straw Hat Pirates came to the capital of 7 Waters when Luffy announced that he was saying goodbye to the Mary. Thorpe went crazy. He and Luffy are on the bar. Usopp offers to fight Luffy. If he can win, he will win the Mary. The battle process was very exciting. Usopp's output was as fierce as a tiger. Although it caused some damage to Luffy, Luffy finally knocked him down with one punch. Stupid. How could you beat me? Luffy knelt on the ground, looking at Usopp, who fell on the ground. Loud a painful roar, then he picked up the straw hat and turned away. Mary, do whatever you like. We will buy a new ship and keep sailing. Goodbye, Usopp. The time with you, I feel very happy. There is no turning back. Only the voice of gritted teeth and reluctantly speaking floats on the shore. Monkey D. Luffy 993. Little Melly, Usopp, I'm really sorry for you. Usopp, although I'm still very angry watching this scene again, but I know that your decision at that time was not wrong. Roronoa Zoro. Yes. In that case, if you continue to take the Mary, then Luffy will not be a qualified captain. Monkey D. Luffy, I never thought that decision was wrong at that time. It's just, I regret that I didn't take care of Melly. I didn't realize that Melly was not just a ship, but our partner. And then, it was too late. Little Melly. It's okay, you have to learn to grow up now, Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy, yeah? Afterwards, Robin was captured by CP9. The group went to Eni's lobby, and a big battle broke out between Eni's lobby and CP9. When Robin hoped that everyone would not save him, Luffy ordered the Sniper King to destroy the flag representing the world government, expressing one thing firmly. That is, Robin, even if we are against the whole world, we will save you. Afterwards, due to the start of the decisive battle, when CP9 is defeated, the Straw Hat Pirates and their party have reached the point where the oil lamps are exhausted. And Marine is Buster Call also follows. On the escape bridge, the bridge deck was bombed. 2 isolated piers. Luffy is on one of the piers, and the others are on the other. Just when everyone was desperately trying to get Luffy to jump over, Buster Call's artillery bombarded the escape boat too. Shiki. Nani? The escape boat was also destroyed? How did they survive until now? Looking at the situation in the picture, the Straw Hat Pirates should have no chance. But the crew members of the Straw Hat Pirates are still alive, which means they didn't die at that time. How is this going? GOLD Roger. The pier has become an isolated island, surrounded by 5 large marine warships. The gun barrel has also been turned around. Edward Newgate. Gulalala. The old man is also very curious. How did they survive? Trafalgar Law. The Straw Hats. How did you escape from Ascension here? Monkey D. Luffy. We'll find out soon. Little Melly. Attention all Marines. Aim at the first bridge pier and destroy Luffy on the way. Luffy. It's dangerous. Quickly reach out. Cheer up, Straw Hat. Luffy. Stand up. Please. Looking at Luffy lying motionless on the pier, everyone is about to explode. But at this moment, apart from shouting anxiously, they have nothing to do. Just when everyone thought that Luffy was going to die, suddenly the faces of the Straw Hat Pirates changed drastically. Who? This voice. Usopp held his head, opened his mouth in shock, and looked around. What are you talking about? Is it the voice of my boys? Frankie said. No, it's not from over there. I heard just now. What's down there? Usopp ran towards the edge of the pier. Down. Although Luffy couldn't move, he heard someone calling him. Who are you? Where are you? Nami looked up in surprise, looking around for the source of the voice. What the hell? Sanji also frowned. He heard it too. He told us to look below. Chopper shouted beside Chopper. Grandma Kukeluo's granddaughter, Kimuni asked with a confused face. Reindeer? What are you talking about? Trafalgar Law. It's someone calling them? Jewelry Polly. Judging by their reactions, obviously yes. But why can't anyone else hear this voice except the Straw Hat Pirates? Kid Eustace, yeah. Looking at other people's reactions, I really can't hear this voice. GOLD Roger. Hey, isn't it? Is this voice? Suddenly thought of something, Roger immediately widened his eyes. Usopp is the first to look under the bridge. With just one glance, his tears burst out like crazy. He yells, Quick, Robin, get Luffy in the ocean. And everyone, jump into the ocean. Seeing that Usopp is going to make such a crazy move, Zoro immediately shouted, Hey, Usopp, what's the difference between jumping like this and committing suicide? Although he seemed to have heard some sound, but because he was still fighting with the Marines, He didn't look down the bridge, and he didn't have time to think about what the sound was. No, we are saved. He has come to save us. Usopp burst into tears. He grabbed Zoro's collar and shouted, "We don't have a partner." At this time, Nami, Sanji, Chopper, and others also saw the source of the sound under the bridge. Dazzling 100 blossoms, great larkspur. Robin used the flower fruit ability, and Luffy directly lifted off the pier. Jump! The other partners of the Straw Hat Pirates also jumped down. As they fell, the sea below appeared in front of everyone's eyes. A sailing ship with the Straw Hat Pirates flag is waiting for everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates in the storm. On the sheep's head on the bow, although the two pitch-black eyes can't move, they're extremely vivid at this moment. Sengoku, what? That, the ship, hasn't it been towed to the shipbreaking yard? Sakazuki, impossible. How can a ship whose keel is almost broken sail from the Seven Waters capital to Eni's lobby? Polyusolino, is this a joke? That ship is covered in bruises, and it took all the luck of the Straw Hat Pirates to reach the capital of the Seven Waters. How could they continue sailing? Gion, anyone who knows about boats would not dare to take a boat like this. Shiki, is it my illusion? There seems to be no one on the deck of that ship. There's no steering wheel. How did it come here? Gold Roger, my God, I may have guessed it right. If nothing else happens, this ship. He came here by himself. Charlotte Linlin. Nanny? Roger, the boat comes by itself. What phone are you talking about? Edward Newgate. No way, do you mean the ship spirit? What? When Whitebeard mentioned the word ship spirit, all moviegoers were shocked. FK. Everyone suddenly remembered. The ship Mary awakened the ship spirit when it was in Sky Island. Can the ship spirit really sail the boat by itself? The main reason is that I have never heard of any ship that has awakened the ship elf before. So this is completely a blind spot for everyone. Let's go back together. Let's go on a sea adventure. Everyone, I'm here to take you home. A voice like a lark resounds on the sea. Although I didn't see the person who spoke, everyone knows that this is the voice of the Melly. What? Where did that ship come from? Damn, how did these guys get this ship here by being surrounded by many warships? From the perspective of the pirates, it should be the pirate ship of Straw Hat Crew. Do you want to shoot and sink it? No. Nico Robin is still up there. He is the one who was specified to be captured alive. Just when Marines on the buster call were at a loss, Spandam picked up the radio phone bug and shouted, "Listen, Akiji Admiral ordered. If Nico Robin can't be caught alive, I'll blow the ship up with her." At this time, the huge Uzumaki appeared. Marine's warship was affected by Uzumaki and lost its aim, and the melee jumped out of Uzumaki directly through the wind-fired cannon and escaped from the sky. Gion, oh my God, that ship really saved them. Don Quixote Doflamingo, the boat saves people. It's really unheard of. This world is so wonderful. Wei Ning, it's delicious. Dracul Mihawk, is this the legendary ship elf? It's really eye-opening. Gold Roger, there are too many people who regard the ship as a partner, but they can let their sincerity be felt by the ship. At present, this is the only one. Edward Newgate. Gulalala. The old man also regards the boat as a partner, but this guy doesn't give face, and he hasn't awakened until now. Charlotte Linlin. Ahahaha. My mother's boat not only gives face, but also can talk. Kaido, come on. You are evil. The ability of the magic fruit has something to do with the ship's spirit. When Amelie once again carried the Straw Hat Pirates to the capital of Seven Waters the moment we reached the shore. Crack! The bow of the ship suddenly broke. Looking at the suddenly disconnected Mary, Luffy immediately lied HI. He looked at another ship of Carrera Shipbuilding Company who fled back with them and shouted anxiously, "Uncle, it's bad. Something happened to the Mary. Help me quickly, The mayor of the Seven Waters City, Ace Bagoo, stood on the deck with a group of shipwrights, without speaking, with a heavy expression on his face. Seeing that everyone is silent, Luffy shouted anxiously, "It is our companion who has been sailing with us until now. It just saved our lives. Please help us, PB." At that time, I finally understood why Usopp cared so much about Imli's feelings. I'm such a badass captain. On the warship of the deep-sea prison, Luffy's eyes were filled with tears. Full of remorse facing Luffy's request, Ace Buggy sighed heavily. Let him rest assured. I have tried my best. As soon as these words came out, Luffy was struck by lightning. He is completely stupid. Ace Buggy looked at the muggle-like Luffy and continued. Did you know? That day, after you went to Eni's lobby, Typhoon Acua was still raging. When I came to the shore, I heard the sound of thumping from the direction of the shipyard. At that time, I was very surprised. How could there be people in the shipwreck yard at this time? So I came to the shipwreck yard to see what's going on. Afterwards, I saw your pirate ship, Mary. When I went to check your boat, I found it was dilapidated. Just as my hand was on the hull of the Mary, suddenly a voice came to my head, Poseidon. The voice said, I still want to sail. I want to sail again. At that time, I thought I was hallucinating, but I don't know why. I actually believed that the sound came from the Mary. So, I started to repair the ship. Although I have tried my best to repair it, I am sure that it will definitely not meet the conditions for going to sea. What's more, it is that kind of typhoon day. But, do you know, the moment I stopped repairing, that voice came to my mind again. He said, thank you. Then I saw a scene that I will never forget. 2.8. Your Mary has gone to sea by himself. So, I decided to go to sea on Conqueror's ship, and I wanted to see if the Mary could complete the voyage again. Then I saw a miracle. Although I have been a shipwright for many years, I have never seen such an amazing ship. He, fortunately, survived. On the sea, the wind is very strong. The flames are burning on the body of the Mary. It was a sunny day, but there was fine snow in the sky. The fine snow is flying, falling on the burning Mary, turning into rain, sliding down the sheep's head like the tears of Mary Hi in the falling snow. There's a cute voice vaguely. I'm sorry, but I actually want to take you further. I'm sorry. I really want to continue to take risks with you, but This time, everyone heard Melly's voice. Luffy burst into tears and yelled in extreme pain. We are the ones to say sorry. He cries and shouts, I don't know how to steer. I caused you to crash into an iceberg. I even broke the sail. Zoro and Sanji are two idiots who are always wreaking havoc on the boat. Although Usopp repairs you every time, the technology is too bad. I'm sorry. Mary, it's us who should say sorry. Having said that, Luffy has collapsed to his knees, weeping uncontrollably. But very happy. Thank you for always being so kind to me. The last sound of the Mary is heard in the flames. Melly. The white frame video is here, and the screen slowly disappears. Chapter 116 Straw Hats. Red Luffy. Crush them to death. Please subscribe. When the picture on the white frame screen dimmed, the viewers woke up from the shock. Watching the farewell between the Melly and the Straw Hat Pirates just now, everyone's emotions were pulled into it. It doesn't matter whether it's a pirate or a marine, as long as it is a person who goes out to sea, who cannot be moved by this scene. If there is a ship in this life that can be dedicated to you like this, I will die without regret. Flying Squirrel. It's so shocking. What is supporting that ship from the Seven Waters to Eni's lobby? And what is supporting that ship to bring the Straw Hat Pirates back from Eni's lobby to the Seven Waters? As one of the participants in the Buster Call just now, the Flying Squirrel Vice Admiral couldn't figure out why the ship of the Straw Hat Pirates appeared at that time. And now, after watching the video replay, Vice Admiral, the Flying Squirrel, was deeply shocked. If he had known the situation of the Melly at that time, he might not have been able to kill him. Kyoshishin, I didn't expect. That boat came here by myself. Stolo Berry. Unbelievable. It arrived in Eni's lobby's waters with such a wreckage. Gion, obviously, the Mary was hanging in one breath at that time. Until its owners were safely sent back to the capital of Seven Waters, its breath was also loose. Crane. Yeah. So it was broken as soon as it arrived in the capital of Seven Waters. Gold Roger. Since I'm living a new life, then this time, I also want to treat my new boat well, and I also want my boat to awaken the ship's spirit. Shiki. Jiahahaha. Then let's compare and see whose ship will awaken the ship's spirit first. At this moment, the video with the white border slowly lights up, the screen appears. Mary has arrived at the Long Ring Islands. This is the first time I feel that having too much money is a troublesome thing. Sanji got off the bed, stepped on the treasure chest, walked from the treasure chest on the first floor to the door, and then continued walking along the treasure chest in the corridor outside, until we got to the deck. It was a little more spacious, although there are treasure chests on the deck, relatively speaking. They're a lot less. After all, there's a lot of humidity on the deck. Those treasure chests that store Bailey cannot be placed on the deck. 25. Only the treasure chests that store treasure can be placed on the deck. In addition, the rear deck is directly occupied by the golden pillars, and there's still a small half of the golden pillars sticking out of the ship. Luffy is sitting on the sheep's head of the Mary, and is also thinking about this problem after thinking for a while. He looked back at his partners on the deck and said, "It seems we have to buy another boat just to put the money in." Usopp nodded. "Yes, in this case, we have to change the ship or buy another ship. But considering Luffy, it is impossible for you to abandon the Mary. So we can only buy another ship," Buggy said. "If you want to buy a boat, then, if I remember correctly, the next island is the famous capital of Seven Waters. There are shipbuilders with very good shipbuilding skills, and we can consider buying our second boat there." "Okay, let's make this decision first." Luffy jumped off the sheep's head and stood on the land of the Long Ring Islands. He looked into the distance and said with some novelty, "This island seems to be different from the island we saw before, huh? Look at that dog, it's so long." Usopp points to a dog looking for food in the distance and shouts, "Wow, huh?" Chopper laughed. Robin stretched out his hand and built a pergola in front of his forehead, looked at it, and said doubtfully, "There seems to be no one here." "No, there are people, but only one." Luffy's observation haki has already covered the island, and the area of the island is not particularly large. There is only one person on an island. Nami blinked curiously, but it looks like this person is very strange. "Let's ask him." Luffy thought for a while, then walked toward the distance. Soon, everyone found the old man Dongjite, who was stepping on a bamboo pole. After some questioning, everyone rescued him. Sanji shouted in shock, "What? You have been walking on stilts for almost 10 years. "Yes. The people of the clan must think that I am dead. Everyone migrates every 3 years. Now I should have migrated to the 4th island from this island. But it doesn't matter, my horse is here. As long as I go to the next island every year when the tide is low, I will be able to join the people of the clan in 4 years." Dongjite said happily. At this moment, Buggy's head flew down from the sky. "I saw in the air just now. The terrain here is probably a ring-shaped island chain composed of 10 small islands," Buggy said. Luffy looked at Dongjite. "Let's make a deal. You entertain us with the special products of the island for 3 days. After 3 days, we will send you and your horse to reunite with your clan by boat. What do you think?" "Really?" Hearing this, Dongjite's excited eyes turned red. "Of course. These 4 small islands have a few hours of low tide every year, and you can only go to one island a year, which is too long. But if you take a boat, you can take a day or 2 at most. For us, this is simply a trivial matter." Luffy doesn't need to hurry, and although it takes a day or 2 to send Dongjite there, a large part of the journey is on the way. Generally speaking, this is just a matter of going along the way, but it can help a lonely old man reunite with his clan 4 years in advance. Why not do it? Dongjite happily collected special things on the island and entertained the Straw Hats and his party for 3 days. 3 days later, Luffy also took Dongji to the island where his tribe was located afterwards. The Mary sailed on the sea for several days and arrived at the capital of Seven Waters. "Wow, is this the capital of Seven Waters? It's so handsome. Looking at this island full of architectural art style," I exclaimed. Nami was also shocked. "It's so beautiful. The people who design this kind of city are amazing." Luffy said, "We have too much money, and there are a lot of Sky Island shellfish on board. We have to keep people guarding the boat." Knowing that Luffy attaches great importance to the Mary, Buggy took the initiative to say, "Let me guard the ship. I also stay on the boat. The new batch of seedlings still need to pay attention. I look at it, and rest assured if you fail to win, you will not stay." Okay, Sanji and Zoro go shopping. Usopp and I go to the shipbuilding company to ask about the situation. Nami and Robin go shopping by yourself. Luffy is assigned the staff, however. Nami took Robin and ran to Luffy. Let's go to the shipyard with you two. Luffy shrugged. Don't you guys go shopping? Nami said with a smile. You can bring it back for shopping. We will also help you refer to the style of the new ship. All right, since Nami insisted on this, Luffy did not refuse. Nico, Robin, I also went to the shipyard with me over there. At this time, the shipyard of the capital of Seven Waters should still be the undercover people of CP9 their Nami. Yes, Sister Robin, if you follow, you will definitely be recognized by those CP9 Usopp. It's good to recognize it. Those bastards from CP9 made us so miserable. This time, let's see how the red Luffy crushed them to death. Tony Chopper, yes. Squeeze them to death. Vinsmoke Sanji, pinch them to death. After disembarking, the four of Luffy began to inquire about the location of the shipyard. The structure of the capital of Seven Waters is very unique. After entering the city, there are almost no remote places, all of which are relatively prosperous downtowns. The four people can be said to have walked all the way to eat and took the famous local duck boat and finally came to the largest shipyard in the area, number 1 shipbuilding affiliated to the Conqueror company. Entering the shipyard, Barry, one of the foremen, came over. Excuse me, are you here to repair the ship or? Seeing Usopp carrying 2 large boxes in his hand, Barry's eyes lit up. Cade. Usopp replied, we want to buy a big boat, a very, very strong one, better able to dive. Luffy added, when I came out of Drum Island before, I met Wapple's pirate ship, which was a ship that dived from the sea to work. That was the first time Luffy saw a submarine, and it left a deep impression on Luffy. Now that I need to buy a second boat, Luffy naturally wants to get a boat that can dive. Although you may not be able to dive often, but having this function is better than not having this functional suit. Listening to Luffy's request, Buggy scratched his head. You want a submarine? No, it's a boat. But it can transform into a boat that can dive. Luffy shook his head and gestured with 2 hands. That's it. If you wrap it like this again, he can dive underwater. After coming up like this, unfold it again. It's a normal boat. Do you understand? Barry was stupefied. Let me say it. Usopp understood that what Luffy wanted to say was actually the ship of the Iron Pirates. So he asked for a piece of paper and quickly drew the ship of the Iron Pirates. Seeing the picture drawn by Usopp, Luffy was overjoyed. Yes. It's like this, but it should not be so ugly. And it must be durable. This kind. Looking at this picture, Barry shook his head. Although this kind could be made, it's not practical. So many deformation links will affect its firmness. Are you sure you want to do this? What's going on? Barry. At this moment, another foreman, Liu Qi, came over. Barry turned his head to look at Liu Qi. Oh, these people want to buy a boat, but the plan they put forward is very funny. I'm giving them an idea. The moment Liu Qi noticed Robin, his eyebrows twitched. Then he looked at Luffy and others calmly. It's just, his subtle expression changes can't escape Luffy's perception, of course. It is impossible for Luffy to beat someone up just because of this. He just stayed pay attention to this Liu Qi, a man who looks very manly, and there's a pigeon on his shoulder, which is a bit strange. Well, if you're not in a hurry, I will hold a meeting with other foremen after get off work to study the shipbuilding plan you propose. Come back tomorrow. When the time comes, we will release the blueprint. You can read it again. Liu Qi gives advice without talking to Luffy. Nami agreed first. Well, that's fine too. It just so happens that we go shopping first. Speaking, he took Luffy and left. After the 4 of them leave the shipyard, they can only go shopping. I found a restaurant, and the 4 of us tasted the famous local delicacy, shui pork. Luffy frowned slightly. His observation Haki immediately sensed that in the restaurant across the street, the foreman named Liu Qi was peeping here beside him. There's another long nose. Obviously, these 2 people know Luo. Therefore, Luffy frowned and looked at Robin. Robin, that foreman Liu Qi who was at the shipyard just now. Do you know him? Foreman, Robin recalled, and the image of the guy with the pigeon on his shoulder came to mind. And he shook his head. I don't know. That's weird. He obviously knows you. And he is still following us, Luffy said doubtfully. Puff. At this time, Nami covered his mouth and laughed. Come on, Luffy. We all have rewards on our bodies. Isn't it normal for people to recognize food and clothing? He didn't say anything. Luffy suddenly realized something. Yeah, I guess they might be eyeing Robin's bounty. After thinking about it, Luffy doesn't care anymore. Leaving the restaurant, the four of them turned a few streets, came to a small alley, and then put poses at the entrance of the alley. Not long after, Luffy and Kaku appeared. When he saw that the four of Luffy were already waiting for them, Luffy frowned. He originally wanted to wait for Robin to be singled out when he was alone, but now it seems that the other party is not a song, of course. In Luffy's eyes, no matter what kind of strength the opponent is, he is definitely not as good as him. Are you eyeing our bounty? Luffy leans his back against the wall and looks sideways at Luffy and Kaku. It turned out to be an ignorant pirate. No wonder he dared to wait for us so arrogantly. Luffy smiled lightly, then looked at Robin. We are CP9. What? When he heard the other party's identity, Robin's delicate body couldn't help but tremble for a moment. Luffy suddenly reaches out to stop Robin. Luffy didn't let go, but continued to say through Robin's words, since you also made an agreement, then you haven't fully taught the knowledge of archaeological translation. Robin purposely looked at Luffy with a disgusted expression. Luffy looked at Robin without squinting, not paying attention to the three of Luffy at all. Although Robin knows that Luffy is very powerful, she also knows that P9 represents the world government. No matter how strong the individual is, can he compete with the world government? Can. Okay. You don't need to act like you know me well. You and I are not partners. We just boarded your boat because of a small agreement. No need to act. Today, none of the three of them can leave. While speaking, Luffy's right index finger stretched instantly. Hearing that Luffy said this, Robin quickly covered Luffy's mouth. Hey, wait, Robin, you can't go. Then, she laughed at herself. Okay, I'll go with you. But don't embarrass them. They're just a few children who were deceived by me. Obviously, no. Although she tried her best to hide it, Luffy is not a fool. She was furious. Don't talk nonsense. Don't bother with my business either. Our fate is over. He can easily perceive that Robin is very scared now, but he still pretends to be calm. Chapter 117. The strength is not bad, but not enough for me to take out the slingshot. Please subscribe. Originally, Luffy didn't care about the three of Luffy, but when he heard Luffy speak about archaeological translation knowledge, the situation was completely different. Why did the government of the world arrest Nico Robin? Isn't it because she can understand the text of history? As long as Nico Robin is alive, more historical papers may be translated and even published. And now the guy next to him actually said that Nico Robin was teaching him about archaeological translation. Isn't this equivalent to killing a robin and standing up thousands of robins? Before this situation develops into a prairie fire, it must be nipped in the bud. CP9 are killer agents specially trained by the government of the world. Once they decide to act, they will be quite swift and resolute. Like a cheetah, Luffy's figure rushes towards Luffy. However, slippery ground. Nami's right hand makes a finger-holding movement, and the fruit ability is instantly transmitted to the ground. Luffy just rushed in front of Luffy, and he was exerting force under his feet, but the ground instantly turned into a smooth plane with zero friction. In such a sudden situation, no matter how good Luffy's balance is, he will inevitably fall straight down. Boom! He knelt on the ground, and the fat gun with his right hand poked directly on the ground. This process sounds like a well-structured process, but it actually happens only in an instant. In the eyes of others, it was as if Luffy sprinted over at an accelerated speed and knelt down in front of Luffy with a plop. When this scene appeared, there was an instant silence in the chat room. Then there was a roar of laughter. Charlotte Lin, wahaha. Why did this guy rush over to kneel down for him as soon as he saw the Straw Hat Boy? Scratchy man up. Maybe I owe someone money. Blah, 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 blah. Don Quixote da Flamingo. Few for so. Excited? I don't know. I thought I saw my own father, Gecko Moria. Hey, hee. You were really bad. He rushed over and knelt down to the toll fee. Even Luffy himself was stupefied. He knelt in front of Luffy and was suddenly embarrassed. Kaku behind him originally thought that Luffy would be able to get everything done in an instant, but he didn't expect it to be this one. He suddenly looked stupid looking at Luffy in front of me. The corner of Luffy's mouth couldn't help twitching. Of course he knew what happened, but this scene is really funny. Luffy has not received professional training in how to hold back a smile. How can he hold back a smile? Pfft, it's not the first time we met, so you don't need to see outside like this. Luffy let out a mouthful of laughter and immediately stretched out his hand to help Lu send it up. Gold Roger. Red Luffy, you are so black-bellied. Ha, Shanks. Don't hit or swear. Just such a polite sentence. It's not very lethal, but it's extremely insulting, Polysolino. Woo. As soon as I said this, that guy CP9's face turned black. Although both the CP organization and the Marine are under the command of the world government, the two departments actually do not understand each other even. The CP organization is like the eunuch next to the Emperor. Marine is seriously upset when he sees the CP agency. Sakazuki. CP9 nonsense is really not as good as One Generation. Jiaji. That's right, looking at Luffy teasing him with such a relaxed attitude. Luffy is really about to explode. Lousy is the strongest CP9 in history. At the age of 13, he was already a famous terrorist killer under the command of the government of the world. I can easily crush 1,000 or 800 little brats like you. How dare you tease me? And still in such a humiliating way to ultimate. Shave. For a split second, Luffy is about to explode and attack. However, the ground he was on was completely affected by the slippery fruit, and as soon as he exerted his strength, he fell into the mud. Don't move around. I'll help you. Kaku has been watching from behind. He has already seen that it is Nami who is using devil fruit ability. He didn't get close, but directly raised his leg and kicked it out with a tempest kick. The sharp slashing wave instantly approached Nami. Facing this level of attack, Luffy has no intention of making a move at all with his current strength. Observation Haki can instantly judge the power of the opponent's attack. If you encounter a low-level attack from your partners, Luffy will naturally fall back. Obviously, the tempest kick issued by Kaku in front of me is obviously far from that level. Of course, this level of attack also has its benefits. That is to practice for the partners. As Luffy thought, Usopp was overjoyed when he saw such an enemy. Hey, it's time for me to show off. Usopp stepped out, and a black ring appeared on the Democratic Party. Although his physical talent is limited, he is the second on board, and his training time is second only to Zoro. Coupled with Luffy's personal guidance, his armament haki has already passed the elementary level and is gradually approaching the intermediate level. Of course, Usopp's talent points are not only reflected in sniper skills, but observation haki is also his strong point. His observation haki is now infinitely close to the high-level observation haki, and he may pass that step at any time and become the owner of the high-level observation haki. Facing Kaku's tempest kick slashing wave at this time, Usopp easily locked its flight trajectory and killing range. He stood in front of everyone in an instant and slapped the tempest kick chopping wave with his palm. Idiot! Luffy and Kaku sneer at the same time when they saw Usopp blocking the tempest kick wave with his hand. I'm really looking for a dead end. Vince smokes Sanji. What's the situation? Does Usopp over there still have physical skills? Frankie. Why is it a palm discharge? What kind of attack is this? Usopp, haha. I guess it must be shock bet. They all say that they know themselves best. Seeing Usopp over there slapping his palm on the Tempest Kick shockwave, Usopp immediately guessed the truth after the Tempest Kick shock wave hit Usopp's palm. It disappeared without a trace. Kaku frowned and froze immediately. What's the situation? He actually picked up the Tempest Kick with his bare hands? Wrong. It's devil fruit ability. Kaku immediately guessed like this. But at this time, Usopp has already taken the initiative to attack him. However, when Usopp rushed to Kaku, Kaku suddenly looked shocked because he noticed the slingshot behind Usopp. He suddenly exclaimed subconsciously, "Wait, are you a sniper? Oh, what's the problem?" Usopp paused, a little confused by Kaku's question. Seeing that Usopp admitted, Kaku's emotions are completely in Bung Bu. He suddenly became furious. Damn it! You, a sniper, don't keep the distance, but want to fight me in close quarters? A sniper wants to attack you head-on. What a shame. Haku finally realized what Luffy felt just now. But what he didn't expect was that the next moment his sense of humiliation and anger suddenly became an upgraded version 2.0. Usopp shrugged his shoulders as if he was chatting and said, "Although your strength is not bad, it is not enough for me to take out the slingshot." As soon as these words came out, a group of flames called anger burst out of Kaku's heart like a small universe explosion. Too much deception. Although his strength is not as good as Luffy, he is still considered the second strongest among CP9. Under such a background, there's actually a sniper who said that he is not good enough to take out a sniper weapon insult to the extreme. Vinsmoke Sanji, this is so damn handsome. Chopper, wow. Usopp is so handsome. Kid Eustace. It's a humiliating explosion to say something like this in a chatty tone. Trafalgar Law, Usopp over there is in charge. So cool. Roxy. Zebek. These little guys nowadays are not very strong, but they talk more and more than one. Seeing the appearance of Usopp in the picture, Rox couldn't help feeling a little sour. In a state of extreme anger, Karen is instantly resigned. Finger pistol. The index finger of his right hand stretched straight for a moment, and he stabbed heavily toward Usopp's chest. This kind of shooting speed is the capital that Kaku is proud of. In his opinion, at such a close distance, young people like Usopp must be unavoidable. Of course, what he doesn't know is his attack trajectory is locked by Usopp's observation haki, which is as ridiculous as a child fooling around. Usopp raises his hand. The same hand, just now. The shock shell in the palm was placed on Kaku's finger in an instant. The Tempest kick that was absorbed by the impact back just now was released with a completely new look. Boom! The power of the finger pistol and the power of the Tempest kick instantly caused a strong explosion. Kaku subconsciously took 2 steps back. What? That power is the Tempest kick I sent just now. After realizing this, Kaku became even more angry and furious. The opponent uses the power he just used to deal with the power he is playing now. Doesn't this mean that 2 people are fighting and only he is contributing? Kaku couldn't help but said angrily, "Damn it, what kind of skill is it to fight me with my attack? Don't be angry. I'm just doing a simple test. I won't use your power to attack." Usopp raised his right hand palm, buckled the shock shell in his palm in front of Kaku, and put it in the side pocket of the small satchel. Seeing that Usopp put away the shock shell, Kaku breathed a sigh of relief. Otherwise, this battle would be too aggrieved for him. After Usopp put away the shock shell, he opened the right side pocket of the small shoulder bag and took it out with his hands. "What you do?" Seeing Usopp taking things, Kaku suddenly became nervous again. "Brush." Usopp pulled out a new shock shell. He glanced at the mark made on it and suddenly said to himself in astonishment, "This is Luffy's attack. Forget it. Don't use this or he will be killed." While muttering, he put the shock shell back and then fumbled and fumbled in the bag nanny. Although Usopp is talking to himself, but Kaku is so close, of course he heard it. "It's too much. Worried about killing me? A hole. I will kill you first." Just when Kaku was about to make a move, Usopp molded another shock shell. He looked at the mark on it, and his face was not very satisfied. "It belongs to Zoro." No. Zoro's attack probably won't be able to resist one. Speaking, Usopp stuffed the shock shell back. Kaku. I feel like my cavity is exploding suddenly, almost blowing my lungs out. And Usopp replaced the 3rd shock shell here. "This is Sanji's attack. Well, it's about the same. Probably Chu and Hao won't kill him all at once." Usopp had a momentary expression of serious thinking on his face, then nodded himself and put the shock shell in the palm of his hand. "Polysolino, this kid's behavior is really hateful. I feel angry when I see it." "Ji-Lu, ha. It's really full. I owe you so much, Edward Newgate. Gula la 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 la. Really deserves a beating, Vinsmoke Sanji, He felt that he was only a little bit away from being PD off, and in anger, he rushed to Usopp and shouted, "Finger pistol submachine gun." 1. But Usopp didn't do that. When Kaku launched the first wave of attacks, he drew his right palm on Kaku's chin from bottom to top at a tricky angle, of course. Because of the relative lack of physical skills, Usopp can't easily get out of the way. Kaku's head seems to be lifted up suddenly by an invisible big hand. Fall to the ground, unconscious. To boom. His body also flew up together. The power of Sanji contains Armament Haki's strenuous kick, stored by Barry burst out. Roronoa Zoro. Stupid curly brows. Doesn't that just show that Usopp over there has an extremely correct perception? If you're a little embarrassed, you can still get out of the way. It's enough. Blood squirts madly. Kaku can't bear it anymore. A figure approaching at a high speed. Kaku poked finger pistol out with both hands at the same time. Vin smokes Sanji. Beat D. I'm going to duel with you. Usopp's observation Haki easily locks the main Kaku's attack direction. Chapter 1:18 Red Luffy wants to learn Marine 6 styles? Please subscribe. Monkey D. Luffy, did you hit it right away? That Usopp over there is awesome. Vin smokes Sanji. Hey. I used the shock shell that absorbed my attack. It's me, okay. Roronoa Zoro. No matter how powerful it is, it still ranks behind me and Luffy. Vin smokes Sanji. Impossible. Nami. It should be behind me over there. Vin smokes Sanji. Nami-chan is right. After Kaku is done, Usopp grabs Kaku's nose and walks back. And here Luffy tried to get up 2 or 3 times in a row, but fell badly. Luffy raised her eyebrows. You are so tired. Can't you take a rest? Luffy seems to be very stubborn. He got up again and was slid down again. But at the moment when he slipped and fell into the air, he let out a low voice. Paper arts. Suddenly, his figure was like a piece of paper, and he floated up. Oh! Luffy's eyes lit up when he saw Luffy's strange new moves again. And at this time, Lu Jian, who was in the air, suddenly stepped on the air with both feet. Moonwalk. $1 Z carat 1 at swipe at once. And Luffy will fly into the air. The muscles on the body swelled up as if they were suddenly pumped up. The color of the skin has also changed. In an instant, he became half human, half leopard. It's still a Zoan demon fruit power. Luffy was slightly surprised. At this time, Luffy suddenly turned his head and fixed his eyes on Luffy. Thinking of Luffy's serious humiliation just now, Luffy can't wait to let Luffy's head fall immediately. AI, realizing that Luffy is going to attack him, Luffy grinned slightly. I advise you not to think about it. Hearing this, Luffy became even more angry. Oh! What qualifications do you have to underestimate me? Luffy, go to hell. The next moment, Road Strike in the form of a prawn appeared in front of Luffy. Six Kings Spear, without any hesitation. Luffy is almost his strongest move as soon as he makes a move. He clenches fists fiercely, like 2 hammers, and smash towards Luffy's chest viciously. -1. Lu 947 Fei is a little speechless. Everyone tells you not to be overwhelmed. But you just have to be so stubborn. Can't you be obedient and let Nami and Usopp practice their hands obediently? Facing Luffy's attack, Luffy moved his feet lightly and turned sideways to avoid the power of these fists. The moment his fists hit nothing, Luffy was shocked. At this moment, time seems to slow down. Luffy's body still maintains the shape of a Superman flying and punching. The moment the Six Kings gun was emptied, Luffy suddenly noticed that Luffy disappeared from where he was and appeared on his right side instead. He subconsciously turned his head to the right and looked over, but I saw Luffy smiling slightly and then casually stepped down to block Luffy from following. Luffy's body immediately rolled in a clockwise direction. Then Luffy stood on one leg, raised one leg without haste, and the sole of the foot rushed straight to the sky. Rubber tomahawk. All these moves are almost completed in an instant. Luffy's feet fell from the sky. Luffy was laid on the ground and fainted immediately. Nami happily said, Miss Robin, you don't have to go with them. However, Robin's complexion is not pretty, she said with a worried face. Why did you attack CP9? Do you know that once you take action against them, it is equivalent to fighting against the world's government? Even if you defeat them, the world's government still has a CPO and even stronger thugs. Luffy, you really shouldn't fight against the government of the world for people like me. As early as I was 8 years old, I should have died. Because of an accident, I survived. For these years, I have been bearing the will of O'Hara, wanting to translate all the historical texts of the world. But I also often feel tired. If I die, it will actually be a relief for me. But now you're implicated. You make me full of self-blame. Robin knelt down on the ground, holding the ground with one hand, covering his mouth with the other. Tears kept flowing, although he has betrayed many organizations before. In her view, those organizations deserve what they deserve. However, this time, she felt extremely painful for the Straw Hat Pirates to offend the government of the world because of her affairs. Bearing the title of Son of the Devil, Luo Bao is actually a kind person. This feeling of guilt makes her miserable. What are you talking about? Seeing Robin crying bitterly, Luffy picked his nostrils. Isn't that just beating two lackeys of the world government? Is this considered a matter? Nami squatted down, stroking Robin's slightly trembling back, and said softly, "Yes, we played a lot of Marines before. Now it's just two CP9S. It doesn't affect us at all." Robin, don't think too much about it. Luffy never acts emotionally. Since he's done it himself, it's definitely not your turn to blame yourself. Usopp dragged Kaku over and threw Kaku beside Liu Qi. As the first person on board after Zoro, Usopp still knows Luffy's character very well. However, Robin cried even more sadly. She said guiltily, "But I am obviously not your partner." In her life, she has never had a partner. I don't want to owe anyone a favor. It turned out that the Straw Hat Pirates and her were only in an agreed relationship, but they still saved her from CP9 without hesitation, which made her very painful. It's like letting those organizations take the blame when they betrayed those organizations in the past. However, the harmonious atmosphere of the Weimao Pirates has been deeply implanted in Ronin's heart since we got along during this period of time. She really doesn't want any accidents in such a group. Aren't you a partner? Hearing this, Luffy nodded slightly, and then he stretched out his hand to Robin. So, now, as the captain of the Straw Hat Pirate ship, I invite you to join us. Of course, Luffy can't be a flower protector because of Robin's crying words. The reason for inviting Robin to be a partner is because Luffy has confirmed Robin's character now. According to Robin's own dictation of the O'Hara incident before, and some information Luffy learned along the way, he is almost certain that it is not the so-called evil incident in the mouth of the world government. And just now, when he deliberately said that Robin taught him about archaeological translation, CP9, who didn't care about them, immediately decided to kill the three of Luffy confirmed it. Obviously, what CP9 wants to catch is not the person Robin, but Robin's archaeological translation knowledge. Is it a crime to master a knowledge? Luffy doesn't think it's guilty. What's more, along the way, whether it's the history text of Alabasta or the history text of Sky Island, Ancient Weapon is mentioned here, and Robin has no intention of getting involved with Ancient Weapon at all, nor does he have any idea of revealing information about Ancient Weapon. So the crime of endangering the world set by the government of the world is not valid at all. Invite me? When Luffy said this, Robin couldn't believe his ears just when she was still in the dazed stage. Nami directly took Robin's hand and stuffed it into Luffy's hand. Nami giggled. "We will be partners from now on." CFCH. Partner, what do you think? Luffy held Robin's hand tightly and stared at her with a smile. The sound of partner hit Robin's heart deeply. Recalling so many years of wandering, she suddenly felt at home at this moment. She nodded her head heavily and choked up, "MMM." Receive Robin's response. Luffy pulled him up with a little force. "Luffy, what about these two people?" At this time, Usopp points to Liu Qi and Kakukade. Luffy rubbed his chin. "Take it back to the boat first. I'm very interested in the attack method they used just now." Afterwards, Usopp and Luffy each carried one on their backs, pretending to be carrying their own people, and came to the side of the river, rent a small boat, and go to the pier where the melee is located. "Nico, Robin, the me over there has finally become everyone's partner, so I can always rest assured. Nami, it's been said a long time ago, those of us over there will definitely get on board alone. Frankie, it's my turn next time. MMM super. Vinsmoke Sanji, you damn pervert. The Luffy over there may not necessarily accept you, Brook. Yo ho 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 ho. That makes sense. Tony Chopper, don't. Frankie can't lose it. Nico Robin. Aha, Chopper. Don't worry. Even someone like me has successfully joined, and Frankie will definitely join Crane. If I'm not mistaken, is the red Luffy over there planning to learn Marine 6 styles? Kazan. It looks like this. Sakazuki. Pirates also want to learn Marine 6 styles? Don't dreaming, Flying Squirrel. Anyway, Luffy and his group are not soft-boned, and they definitely won't teach them Joel D. Roger. You idiots are especially worried about this. Why don't you look forward to how far the red Luffy over there will develop Marine? Kazuki Oden. That makes sense. It will be so much fun if red Luffy's Marine 6 styles are even stronger than the original ones. Monkey D. Garp. This one can have, huh? 7 Water Capital, City Hall office building, 2nd floor, oh no. Boatman Barry rushed into the office of Mayor Bingshan in a hurry. The mayor of Bingshan is also the highest consul of the capital of 7 Waters. At the same time, he is also the mayor of the city of 7 Waters and the head of the Carrera Shipbuilding Company. The full name is Ace Bagoo. Boom! The door of the mayor's office was pushed open by the foreman Barry, and he rushed in. And in the office, the secretary of the mayor, Khalifa, wearing black fishnet stockings, is reporting to Ace Bagoo about the company's profitability caused by this issue of Carrera. Suddenly, someone pushed the door and entered, and she jumped. How rude! Khalifa directly raised a fishnet leg and raised a series of phantoms at Barry. Barry couldn't dodge in time and was immediately kicked in the face. Ah! Damn! You shameless woman! What you are wearing is outrageous. Buggy covered the swelling on his face and cursed angrily. At this time, Ace Bagoo looked at Barry suspiciously. Barry, at this point in time, you are not staying in the shipyard. What are you doing here? Hearing what Ace Bagoo said, Bali realized that he came here for something important. He hurriedly yelled, "Not good. President, Luffy and Kaku were taken away." What? Ace Bagoo and Khalifa turned pale with shock almost at the same time. CP9, who came here as an undercover agent. Of course, Khalifa understand how strong Luffy and Kaku are. Now, Barry actually said that someone took Luffy and Kaku away? Were you kidding? Only CP9 has ever caught people. When will it be someone else's turn to catch CP9? And Ace Bagoo thought someone kidnapped his company's employees. So he stood up immediately. What's going on? Tell me carefully, Very quickly said. This morning, 4 people came to our shipyard and said they wanted to buy a big boat that can dive. Afterwards, Luffy said that he would hold a meeting to formulate a plan. Let them go back first. However, when it was time for the meeting in the afternoon, Luffy and Kaku were not there. Lao Wang said that they went out for lunch, so I went out to find them. As a result, when I was looking for them, I saw the 4 people who wanted to buy a boat come out of an alley. Follow Lucci and Kaku. I saw that they rented a boat, so I immediately rented a blue to follow them. Who knew? Their ship is like a rocket. It disappears after swiping. Barry told what he saw in one breath. Khalifa frowned. She doesn't doubt what Barry said, because she knows that these foremen of the Carrera Company are very loyal. Otherwise, Barry would not want to follow those people alone. However, what she was puzzled about was, what's the situation with Luffy and Kaku? Why is it being carried? Could it be that someone used some kind of conspiracy to suddenly lose his fighting power or become unconscious? Thinking of this, she immediately began to think about how to rescue Luffy and Kaku. Ace Bagoo frowned when he heard the news. After a while, he suddenly asked, "You said just now that Luffy said that he would give them the blueprints. So did you say when they would give them the blueprints?" Buggy nodded. "Say it. Let them come to the shipyard tomorrow morning." Ace Bagoo slapped the table. "Then wait for them at the shipyard tomorrow morning. Let the brothers get the guys ready." "Good," Barry said in a deep voice. Chapter 119, Torturing CP9. Please subscribe. Evening aboard the Mary. The Straw Hat Pirate's special seawater wooden barrel shackle cage. Luffy is soaked in it. Because Kaku is weaker, he was treated better, so he was tied casually and thrown aside. When the 2 of them just woke up, there was actually a mouthful of output. It stopped after a few slaps. Marine 6 styles. Listening to Kaku saying the name of the move, Luffy rolled the string again and again, while looking at him. "Tell me, How can I tell you the way of training Marine 6 styles? Don't even think about it. Your strength is indeed surprising, but it is absolutely wishful thinking to get any information from us. Kaku snorted coldly. Luffy was even more straightforward. He turned his head to the side without making a sound. Don't you say? Luffy put the iron stick on the dinner plate next to him and took another roasted kidney. Seeing this, Buggy proposed, "How about punishment? It's useless." Robin immediately denied it, and she explained, "They themselves are agents trained by the government of the world, and the training courses include special training to face punishment. If you want to get information from them, it is a very difficult thing in itself. If you have to learn about Marine VI's cultivation method from them, you can only use unconventional means." "One, what kind of unconventional means?" Nami asked curiously. Robin shook his head. "I haven't thought of it." Everyone almost fainted. Luffy thought for a while and said to Usopp, "Give them a chili star first to warm up their mouths." "Okay." Hearing this, Usopp was immediately happy. He pulls the slingshot. "Reef a chili star is ready." Then he looked at Robin. "Robin, do me a favor." Of course, Robin understood what Usopp meant. He crossed his arms and activated the ability of flower fruit. I saw Luffy and Kaku's mouths were picked whizzing. 2 chili stars shot in the mouths of Luffy and Kaku with great precision. Hiss. The chili star was directly poured into the throat, and the expressions of the two of them suddenly changed, and their faces were flushed. Bursts of heat waves began to emerge from their 7 orifices. Looking at the 2 CP9s sticking out their tongues like crazy, Robin smiled. "Although this is quite ruthless, it is definitely not far enough to make them speak." Luffy nodded. "Well, I didn't expect them to open their mouths right away. Anyway, we are not in a hurry. When you have free time every day, you can think of some ways to see who can pry their mouths open first." Although Luffy is very interested in Marine 6 styles, he is not in a hurry. "Take your time. You will always get it this time." Sanji walked up to Luffy and said, "Don't you think this is strange? They are agents of the world's government, and they want to catch Robin's sauce. It's no problem. But why are they building ships? Factory undercover? Did they already know that Robin's sauce would appear here?" Robin said seriously, "No, they definitely didn't go undercover in the shipyard because of me. They must have other missions. It's just a coincidence that they met me." 1. Looking at them looking like dead pigs who are not afraid of boiling water, I'm afraid it's not easy to ask them out. Nami glanced at the 2 spicy CP9 agents sticking out their tongues and said. Luffy smiled. "This matter has nothing to do with us. Why should we meddle in that business?" Nami's eyes glowed with enlightenment. "That's right. Luffy is right." The next day, Luffy and his team first found the largest pawn shop in the capital of 7 Waters and pawned off the golden pillar. Because this gold pillar is too big, the unit price given by the other party is lower than the gold price. But even so, this gold pillar was sold at a high price of 2.3 billion Baileys. Including their own assets, the family background of the Straw Hat Pirates has reached as much as 5.2 billion. Nami, 23 billions. Usopp, OMG, what the hell are we missing? Vince smoked Sanji. Is it too late to go back and get that golden pillar now? Bellamy, it's too late. Monkey D, Luffy. Bellamy, it's UBD. Bellamy, it's Luffy. I'm so sorry for laughing at your dreams. Now that I've been to Sky Island too, I swear I'll never laugh at anyone's dreams again. When I was in Magic Valley Town, when Luffy and the others asked about Sky Island in the bar, they were ridiculed by all the pirates. This naturally also includes the Bellamy pirates. It wasn't until Bellamy heard the singing from the sky that he realized that Luffy had really accomplished what he thought was a fantasy. Then after arriving at Sky Island, Bellamy's 3 views were officially refreshed. Monkey D. Luffy, what? Bellamy, you also went to Sky Island. Bellamy, yeah, I also took the golden pillar. What? Hearing that Bellamy took away the golden pillar, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates vomited blood, collectively 23/Z. It's so hand in hand. Send the Bailey obtained from selling the gold pillars back to the Melee. The cabin of the Melee is really full. Afterwards, the personnel were still assigned as yesterday. Luffy, Usopp, Nami, and Robin took 200 million Baileys to Carrera's shipyard, and the others stayed on board. When a group of 4 came to the shipyard, Ace, Bagoo, and Barry immediately surrounded them with people. Huh, what does this mean? Seeing the dark shipbuilders around, Luffy frowned. Although they captured Luffy and Kaku yesterday, they moved the captives very quickly at that time, and they should not have been discovered. However, looking at the previous appearance, it seems that the other party already knows about this matter. Of course, Luffy is not ready to do anything. After all, those 2 people are agents of CP9. As long as their real identities are revealed, this conflict will not start. Barry stood up and looked at them and yelled, "You bastards are pretending to buy a boat, but you are actually here to kidnap our foreman. Hand over Luffy and Kaku. Yes, hand over brother Luffy and brother Kaku. Help me. Otherwise, don't even think about getting out of here alive." The shipbuilders clamored one after another. Let everyone shout for a while. Ace swears at this official. The shipbuilders suddenly fell silent. "I'm the president here. Ace, Bagoo, I don't know what grievances Luffy and Kaku have with you. If you can promise to release them both, then I can decide not to pursue this matter. As the president of Conqueror Company, Ace Jongu only wants to see his own safety at this time." Luffy spread his hands. "Then what if you don't agree?" "Actually, I will definitely not agree." Luffy wants to ask them about the training method of Marine 6 styles. "If you don't agree," hearing this, Ace Bagoo's face immediately turned cold, and he raised his hand. I saw hundreds of craftsmen in the entire shipyard suddenly raise their wrenches. Ace Bagoo threatened in a cold voice, "If you want to experience the feeling of hundreds of wrenches being thrown on you, just say no and see." Seeing that the opponent is ready to fight, Usopp, Nami, and Robin are also ready to go to war immediately at this time. Luffy laughed. "Wait a moment. Before answering your question, I have a question to ask you. What's the problem?" Ace Bagoo said impatiently. Luffy asks, "Is this shipyard of yours running some kind of illegal and criminal business for a long time? What nonsense are you talking about? Damn it. You tied up our foreman and poured dirty water on us. Damn. We are Carrera's shipyard. We are a clean business." Luffy's words immediately aroused the indignation of the shipbuilders. Oh. Luffy rubbed his chin. "That's strange. Since CP9's undercover agents are in your shipyard, they must have at least some evidence of your crimes. Otherwise, why would you send 2 agents, Luffy and Kaku, here to undercover how many years?" On the way here, Luffy inquired, "Luffy and Kaku have been working in the shipyard for more than 4 years. The 2 of them have become well-known figures in the capital of 7 Waters because of their excellent shipbuilding and ship repairing skills. BD. It's okay to pour dirty water on us, but you want to dirty Luffy and Kaku. Do you think that we will believe you if you casually label the 2 of them as undercover agents? Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and hand over the person. Otherwise, I will FK you. President, stop talking nonsense with him, Tion, and the others." Luffy's words once again ignited the anger of Carrera's shipbuilders, however. Although these shipwrights believed what Luffy said, Asiba was very upset. He is the first disciple of Tom, the world's #1 shipbuilder. When Tom was dying, he passed the design of Pluton to him. Asked for flowers when I heard the word CP9, Ace Medieval. I believed it without hesitation, because he knows that the government of the world has been sending people to secretly investigate the whereabouts of Pluton's design drawings all these years. But he has already quietly transferred this drawing to his junior brother Frankie. But now when he heard Luffy say that Luffy and Kaku are undercover agents sent by CP9, his heart suddenly raised his throat. Intuition tells him that what Luffy said is true. Calm down. At this moment, Ace Bagoo roared loudly. He looked at Luffy and said in a deep voice, "Do you have any definite evidence? They revealed their identities first. How could it be false?" Luffy glanced at Ace Bagoo and then said a little unhappy, "Looking at you now, we can't buy our boats, right? If you really don't plan to make this life, if you agree, then let's find another place." Speaking, Luffy is about to leave. Wait a minute. The matter of shipbuilding is easy to talk about, but can you hand over these 2 people to me? Since they are people from the government of the world, I think they will stay with you. It will also bring you trouble, won't it? Ace Bagoo wants to bring the 2 of them over and interrogate them. Don't get me wrong. The reason I'm telling you this is purely because I'm in a good mood. I'm not here to prove this to you. Not wanting to deal with this matter, Luffy then waved his hand. Let's go. The shipbuilders of the Conqueror company saw that Luffy and the others were about to leave, and they all made gestures to rush forward, and all of them looked at Ace Bagoo. As long as Ace Bagoo gives an order, they will immediately go to beat up Luffy and others. Ace Bagoo's heart is extremely complicated at this time, and he is also afraid. Looking at the back of Luffy for walking towards the gate of the shipyard, he hesitated. But just as Luffy and the others were about to leave the shipyard, two figures suddenly appeared at the gate of the shipyard, blocking the way of Luffy and others. Sorry, you can't leave. Califa pushed the metal glasses with purple borders and said lightly, "It's Secretary Califa. This leg is so beautiful. Damn it, I'm touched by my surname." Huh? Who is that guy next to him? Standing next to Goddess Califa, looking for death. He's the bar owner, Blueno. Hey, it's really him. How did the two of them get together? Seeing Califa and Blueno appearing at the door, the shipbuilders started talking again. Califa! Seeing this scene, Ace Bagoo exclaimed, and he immediately walked over. What are you doing here? Don't mess around, go back to the city hall. Ace Bagoo came up and grabbed Califa's arm to drag him out. However, Puff, Blueno on the side, stretched out his hand and hit a finger pistol. Ace trembled violently. He looked at the finger that penetrated his body in shock. His eyes widened in disbelief. Luffy's eyes lit up and he said happily, "Huh? This is finger pistol. You two are also CP9. For these strictly trained agents, it is very difficult to get information from them." Huh. Speaking, Califa immediately rushed to Luffy. Boom. Looks like Luffy and Kaku were arrested yesterday. Is not accidental. Luffy noticed right away. It was too late to say anything. Califa fainted immediately. Nami slid to her face with a swipe, raised her hand to remember that Armament Haki's hand knife fell on Califa's fair neck. So the more prisoners you can capture, the greater the chance of getting information. Open the door on the ground. As soon as he stretched out his hand, his arms stretched, his palms enlarged, and he hugged Blueno's entire head, and then pulled up Blueno, who had already fallen halfway to the ground. Take a step, Califa slipped and immediately fell down. He didn't think much about it and immediately wanted to take Califa away. That's right. We're also CP9. Although I don't know what means you used to capture Luffy and Kaku, but we came prepared today, and we won't let you take advantage of it. A door opened under Blueno's feet, and he fell straight in and passed by. One by one. Seeing that Califa was suddenly killed, Blueno immediately realized that this group of people in front of him has real skills. Chapter 1, 20 Your future captain has plenty of money. Please subscribe, Capone Beach. Hey? That person has already fallen by more than half, and was picked up by the Red Luffy again. Skira Kiminap, blah blah. It's so miserable. Trafalgar Law. The Straw Hat over there is not only powerful in Observation Haki, but also has quick eyesight and quick hands. The other party doesn't even have a chance to escape. Usopp. Nice job. In the first battle of the water capital, Usopp was killed by Blueno's finger pistol, Vinsmoke Sanji. Great. The CP9 over there is really easy to handle. It's so cool. Nami. Yes, it's so comfortable. What devil fruit are you? Luffy pulled Blueno over, then threw it on the ground and asked curiously, "Finger pistol." How could Blueno answer Luffy's words? He saw Luffy's feet right in front of him, and unceremoniously, he just stabbed Luffy's feet with a finger pistol. Duong. Nami's fist landed on his head. Immediately, a burst of darkness. Blueno turned belly up and passed out. President, Mayor, Mr. Iceberg. The shipbuilders of the Conqueror company rushed over one after another. Ace Bagoo sat on the ground, covering his wound. I'm fine, I can't die. Luffy mentioned Califa in one hand and Blueno in the other, and signaled his partners to leave here. Wait a moment. Seeing that Luffy's people are leaving, Ace Bagoo hurriedly said, "Aren't you going to build a ship?" Luffy frowned. Why? In the current situation, there should be no chance for us to cooperate with 707, right? Ace Bagoo hurriedly shouted, "No, there is a chance, and I will personally build a ship for you." You? Personally? Luffy frowned even deeper. Your boss is the mayor's, and it will cause... Hey, you guys who have no vision. Mayor Bing Shan is the best shipwright in the city of Seven Waters. Yes, he is the first disciple of the world's #1 shipbuilder Tom. How many people spend a lot of money to ask him to take action, but they can't ask him at all? The shipwrights around shouted one after another. Hearing this, Luffy suddenly became interested. So, he looked at Ace Bagoo. Tell me, what is your condition? I have something to say first. If you want someone, there is no way. Luffy is a smart person. He knows that it is impossible for others to ignore being courteous. And the only thing that attracts the other party in my hand is undoubtedly a few CP9s. Ace Bagoo quickly shook his head. No, we don't want them, but we want to interrogate them. Is that okay? Luffy shrugged his shoulders and said lightly, Yes, but they are agents trained by the government of the world for many years. If you want to interrogate them, I think it is almost impossible to ask anything. It doesn't matter. As long as you agree, I will try my best to build you the best ship in the world. Ace Bagoo said seriously. The best ship in the world. Hearing this, Luffy frowned a little. I said, You are a little too big for bragging. I never thought that Luffy would say such a sentence. Ace was stunned by his tongue out then. He hurriedly said, No. Does Roger, the One Piece King, know? His ship was built by my master, and I have inherited all the shipbuilding techniques of my master. Even if it is not as good as the ship built by my master, I can guarantee that definitely the best boat in the world today. Hearing that Roger's boat was built by the guy in front of me, Luffy kind of believed what Ace Bagoo just boasted. Okay, come with us. It happens that we have a ship doctor who can treat your injury. Speaking, Luffy walked outside with 2 CP9s. Usopp handed the treasure chest in his hands to Robin and Nami, and then went to support Ace Bagoo. Slow down. Let's go too. Who knows if you guys will kidnap Mayor Bing Shan? Boom. Luffy's Conqueror's Haki was released. Immediately, these shipbuilders all fainted to the ground at once. Ace Bagoo's expression changed. Luffy said lightly. Don't worry. Just let them take a nap for a while. Otherwise, it will be too much trouble. The group left Carrera's shipyard and came to the Mary. Ace Bagoo's injury is not too serious. After all, CP9 has not grasped the real clue of Pluton's design. So, it is impossible to kill Ace Bagoo. Chopper helped him with sure sway, smeared the potion, and then bandaged it up. It will be taken care of soon, because Blueno is a demon fruit power, so I got him a large seawater barrel shackle cage. As for Califa, Luffy carried her and threw her in the sea several times, and found that she was not a demon fruit power, and then she was treated the same as Kaku, just tied and threw it away. After Ace Bagoo's wound was bandaged, he tried to interrogate a few CP9s, and after getting the information that they were indeed CP9s, he couldn't ask anything else. He even showed reason and emotion to Califa, and then Califa taught him a lesson, let him understand what is called an agent. Looking at Ace Bagoo coming out dejectedly, Luffy patted him on the shoulder with a smile. Don't feel discouraged. For these guys, if you're not mentally prepared for a long fight, don't even think about it from them. Get a word of information. It's like Luffy is going to dig out the Marine 6 Styles training method from these guys. Luffy has already figured it out. When a new big ship is built, there must be a special place for prisoners on the ship. Take these guys around the world together. When will they recruit the Marine 6 Styles training method? When will you consider whether to kill or let them go? At this time, Ace Bagoo found many big treasure chests on the Beauty, some of which were still open, revealing the treasures full of them. You guys seem to be very rich, Ace Bagoo said with emotion. Luffy nodded, chatting casually. Yeah, it's because we have too much money, so we want to buy a big boat to put money. Ace Bagoo has a black line on his forehead. Nima, although it sounds like showing off, it seems that the other party is just stating a fact. He looked at Luffy. Since you have enough money, I suggest that you can buy Yangshu Eve's tree trunk as the material for building your ship. The ship of the Roger Pirates was also made of that kind of wood. It is very strong. Okay, although the best material, it's not bad money. Luffy casually patted the treasure chest beside him, probably because it was too full. There was a slight vibration, and a lot of gold and silver treasures fell out Immediately, then, Luffy suddenly thought of something and asked, by the way, if I want to transform the Mary into a big ship, can I do it? No. Buggy denied without hesitation. The keel of every ship is fixed when it is built, no matter how it is modified. The keel cannot be adjusted, so the size of the ship cannot be modified. Of course, if even the keel is rebuilt, it is indeed the same as adjusting the size of the ship. But if you want to go to that extent, isn't it the same as rebuilding a ship? Buggy said, well, let's build a new one. Luffy nods. In fact, he has some knowledge of shipbuilding before, so he actually knows the answer to this question. It's just that since the person in front of me is the personal disciple of the world's #1 shipbuilder, Luffy still asks a casual question. What if the melee number can be changed to a larger size? Then there is no need to change it? However, there is nothing to be disappointed if you can't change it, because Luffy's original idea was to buy a second boat. Since the shipbuilding materials have been determined, I will go back and design a shipbuilding plan according to your ideas. This may take a few days, and I will come to you again at that time. Buggy said. Luffy smiled and said, okay, no hurry. We are not in a hurry. The boat must be built. After Buggy left the melee, he took out a dedicated phone bug and dialed a number. After a while, under a hidden bridge pier, a muscular man wearing swimming trunks came here. He walked briskly, slipped into the shadow of the bridge hole, and said, hey, didn't you say that the government of the world is watching closely and we don't meet at the water? What is it? You actually want to take such a big risk to meet me? Frankie, you have to leave. Buggy stepped out of the shadows. Nani, hearing that Buggy met him urgently to drive him away, Frankie was furious. I'm not sure. Stupid. This is not the time to be willful. Do you know that people from CP9 have been undercover by my side for several years? From my secretary to the foreman of the shipyard and the owner of the bar. Just now, there are only 4 people who are known. How many people are unknown? I don't even know. Listen, Master asked us to keep the Pluton design. It must not fall into the hands of the world's government. Now there are countless eyeliners of the world's government in the Water City. If you continue to stay here, sooner or later you'll be caught by them. Found. At that time, once the Pluton design is obtained by those guys, even if we die, we will have no face to see the Master. Buggy said seriously. Master was mentioned. Frankie fell silent. Master's death. It can be said that he has a great responsibility. If it wasn't for him not to listen to his brother and insist on fiddle with those super warships, those CP5 guys back then wouldn't have had the opportunity to frame him with the battleships made by Frankie. So, even if he risked his life in this life, Frankie must abide by his master's last wish and never let Pluton's blueprints leak out. Just if the situation is really so urgent, it's not impossible for me to leave. But you tell me, where else can I go after leaving Shudu? Frankie asked loudly. He grew up in the capital of 7 Waters since he was a child, and now he is in his 30s, and he wants to leave here suddenly. This is like a child who has never traveled far and is suddenly taken away by his parents, kicked out of the house, and told him that you should be self-reliant in the future. This kind of fear and helplessness is hard to bear. You don't have to worry about this. I've already thought of a place for you. It is said that an elder brother is like a father, as Frankie's senior brother. Buggy is like Frankie's half-father. Since he wants to let Frankie leave, how could he not arrange for him? Hearing this, Frankie looked blankly at Buggy. Where to go? Where to? Buggy said loudly. Didn't you aspire to build the most powerful warship in the world since you were a child? Now is your chance. Hearing this, Frankie's heart suddenly turned hot. But then he was stunned for a moment. Hey. What do you mean? Don't you know? The boat I want to build must be a boat built with Baoshu atom as the material. Buggy smiled slightly. Baoshu atom, right? No problem. And you can look for materials. As long as there are goods on the black market, you don't have to worry about money. Your future captain has plenty of money. What? The future captain? Frankie's face is full of bewildered expressions. Buggy said, yes, he is the master of the super battleship you are about to build. He is very powerful. I saw with my own eyes that CP9 is like a child in front of him vulnerable. If you can get on his ship, then the blueprint of the Pluton battleship must be much safer than staying here. But did they agree to let me board the boat? Frankie asked, puzzled. You don't have to worry about this. The two of us have teamed up to build the most powerful warship in the world, and it can also dive. Its functions are so complicated that if others want to learn to operate, if you do it, you won't be able to learn it all in 1 year. And you are the best shipwright in the world. When the time comes, I will recommend you to be their shipwright like Luffy. I believe 0.5 he will not refuse. Ace Buggy is very confident in his idea. After all, when this super battleship is built, the Straw Hat Pirates will definitely need him or Frankie to accompany the ship, and if he is the mayor of the capital of Seven Waters, he won't be able to leave at all. It's okay. I'm here. You can ask yourself, you followed me? Ask for flowers, ask for evaluation, ask for a reward, ask for a monthly pass. But the design of the Pluton battleship isn't it? And Frankie, seeing Luffy appearing here, Ace Buggy was shocked. Luffy nodded. Yeah, for such an important matter as shipbuilding, isn't it reasonable for me to inquire about your details? Frankie is also facing an enemy. If you can board this super battleship we built with our own hands, then I promise you to leave the water capital with the Pluton design. Because he mentioned the Pluton battleship design in the conversation with Frankie just now, he has begun to imagine that he can gallop the sea on the super battleship he built. Definitely the best candidate. Frankie gets more and more excited when he thinks about it, but he is also slightly worried. Then when will he take me with you? But Ace Buggy's complexion is very ugly. Luffy smiled and shook his head slightly. You don't have to worry about this. I know where the real Pluton battleship is, and will you still covet a blueprint that you don't know if it's true or not? Listening to Ace Buggy's words, Frankie took a deep breath. Hiss. One at this time, Luffy's figure appeared in front of the two. Chapter 121 Munch Munch Fruit, Treasure Tree Alloy. Please subscribe. What? A real Pluton battleship? Hearing this, Ace Buggy and Frankie widened their eyes in shock. At the same time, Ace Buggy immediately retorted, Impossible. Frankie also said with certainty, Absolutely impossible. Luffy, there is only one Pluton battleship in this world, and that was 800 years ago. And now, after so many years, about the news of this Pluton battleship has long since disappeared, and it is even uncertain whether this Pluton battleship has been destroyed in the past few hundred years. If you didn't say that just now, maybe I wouldn't doubt it. But you said you knew where things were 800 years ago. This is definitely a lie. As the inherited shipbuilders of the capital of Seven Waters, Ace Buggy and Frankie can be said to be the people who know the most about Pluton warships, but even they have never heard any news about the location of the Pluton battleship. This young man in front of me, who looks like a teenager, actually said that he knew the location of the Pluton battleship 800 years ago. Isn't that a buggy egg? Luffy pouted. Don't you know that there is something called a historical text? One of the historical texts is engraved with the whereabouts of the Pluton battleship. Hearing this, Ace Buggy showed astonishment. You can still understand the text of history? Impossible. In this world, only the son of the devil who is wanted by the government of the world can translate the text of history. But the next moment, he seemed to remember something and suddenly shouted in shock. I remember, the black-haired woman on your boat is the son of the devil who is wanted by the government of the world. Call. What do you say that is? After all, you don't live by offering bounties, so it's impossible to remember the names and appearances of every bounty offer. However, because Nico Robin was offered a reward of 79 million Baileys when he was 8 years old, this incident is so famous that almost everyone has an impression of the devil's son -1. However, if you suddenly asked him to say the name of the devil's son, or describe the appearance of the devil's son, it would be difficult for ordinary people to remember 25. Although Ace Buggy met Robin before, he just felt like he had seen it somewhere, but he really didn't think about the devil's son. Now, because Luffy brought up the historical text, Ace Buggy thought of the devil's son, and then the appearance of the reward order vaguely appeared in his mind, and he realized that the woman on the Straw Hat Pirates was the devil's son. Yes, Nico Robin is my partner. We not only know the whereabouts of Pluton, but also know the whereabouts of Poseidon. So, just a design drawing of the Pluton battleship. Do you think we will care? Luffy shrugged his shoulders, then looked at Frankie. Also, if your master's last wish is that you don't let the blueprint of the Pluton battleship leak out, you should destroy it directly instead of keeping it. Hearing this, Frankie suddenly burst into anger. That is the only relic master left them. However, Ace Buggy was deeply shocked. Destroy it? Yes, if you don't want it to fall into the hands of others. Isn't the best way to destroy this blueprint? As Tom's two direct disciples, both Ace Buggy and Frankie have always cherished this blueprint because it is the only relic of Master. As the saying goes, the authorities are obsessed, but the bystanders are clear. When Luffy pointed out the core of Tom's last wish, Ace Buggy suddenly discovered such a simple truth. How did I understand? Master doesn't want the blueprints to be leaked, not because he wants us to keep them for a lifetime. I understand. Ace Buggy nodded seriously. He turned his head to look at Frankie. Is right. We should destroy that blueprint. As long as the blueprint disappears completely, then Master's last wish can be guaranteed to be fulfilled. Frankie's eyes widened. But this is the only relic of Master. Ace Buggy stared at Frankie. I ask you, does Master want this Pluton warship to be built? Frankie thought for a while, then shook his head firmly. I don't want it. Then do you hope that you didn't stick to Master's last wish? Ace Buggy asked again. Of course not. Then tell me, what kind of method can the Master's last wish be completely kept? Hearing this, Frankie also realized the key to the problem: destroy the only relic of the Master. And you can stick to the only relic of the Master. After pondering for a moment, Frankie slowly raised his head and looked at Ace Buggy. I know. I will destroy the design of the Pluton battleship. Then he looked at Luffy. Your name is Luffy. Let me introduce myself. My name is Frankie, and I am the second disciple of Tom, the world's #1 shipbuilder. The ship you want will be built for you by me and my brother. Luffy smiled. Well, hello, Frankie. So, as the creator of this upcoming world's strongest warship, can I be on your ship? Frankie asked. Seeing Frankie's familiar look, Luffy laughed and said, Oh, is this a condition for building a boat for me? Of course, the best warship I've built myself. If I can't ride on the sea, then the power I built it will be reduced by half. It's not perfect, Frankie responded. Okay, I agree. About this matter, there is actually nothing to hesitate. Luffy heard the conversation between Ace Buggy and Frankie through Observation Haki before. Although Ace Buggy wanted to take the opportunity to blackmail Luffy, Luffy had to admit that what his Seba said was not wrong. Since this battleship needs the best, then the functions of this ship must be particularly advanced and complex. If there is no shipbuilder who is very familiar with the ship on board, then even if this ship is for the Straw Hat Pirates, can't use it well. And the Straw Hat Pirates really lack a shipbuilder right now. Luffy has indeed protected the Mary very well, but no one can guarantee that the Mary will not be damaged in future voyages if you realize that there's a lack of shipwright on board at that time. Luffy will definitely not be a qualified captain. As soon as Luffy agreed, Frankie became excited. You agreed? Wow, I'm really happy this week. Super. Luffy looked at Ace Buggy with a confused face. What's the matter with him? Ace Buggy scratched his head in embarrassment. Don't mind me. My junior brother has this kind of virtue. These are all his oral habits. Don't worry, he's fine here. Speaking, Ace Buggy pointed to his head with his finger. After receiving Ace Buggy's explanation, Luffy left speechless. Frankie. The me over there is finally on board too. I'm very happy this week. Super. Vinsmoke Sanji. You pervert are too shameful, Nico Robin. Aha, look at Luffy over there, Brook. Luffy thought he was an idiot. Yoho, Usopp. After Frankie regained his composure, he said to Luffy, Then, Straw Hat, you will be my captain from now on. As for the material of the boat we are going to build, we will use the precious tree atom as the material. I just found out that there are 2 root during this period of time. One may be put up for auction, and the seller is preparing to wait for the price to rise. Is one enough? Luffy asked suspiciously. Frankie nodded. Enough, but if there are 2, the material will be more abundant. But I heard that the seller only intends to sell one. Sufficient. Thinking of this, Luffy thought of the Mary, and he said, if the new ship is big enough, can you design a berth for a ship? Ah, what do you mean? Frankie obviously didn't understand the question Luffy wanted to ask. Luffy turned his gaze to Ace Buggy. It's my current ship, the Mary, and I'm thinking, if diving is needed, can a new ship be able to dive with the Mary 1 or 2? Luffy doesn't know the professional knowledge of shipbuilding, so he is very serious in asking the two people in front of him for advice. For a pirate group, it is normal to have two ships at the same time. However, Luffy thought of this method because he considered that the Mary could not be greatly modified, and it was impossible to transform it into a pirate ship capable of diving. Ace Buggy saw the melee. He thought about it for a while, and then said, theoretically, it is feasible. But I guess if it is designed like this, the new ship will have to be designed bigger, so at least 2 treasure trees will be needed. Adams wood is gone. Maybe not even enough. Luffy thought for a while, and then decided, okay. Then buy the wood of the 2 treasure trees, Adam. If it is not enough, use other good materials to make up. 1. After saying this, Frankie showed a look of embarrassment. In terms of shipbuilding, no material in this world can compare to the precious tree atom. If other materials are used to make up for it, it will lead to inconsistent local firmness of the ship and affect the performance of the ship. Although there are materials that can do it, I am afraid that only Marine has the technology to make alloys. Ace Buggy also nodded and said, yes. The material of Marine's most advanced warship is an alloy material extracted through Vegapunk technology. Although it is not as good as Baoshu Atom, the gap between the two has been greatly shrunk. But the main problem is, although we have the strongest shipbuilding technology, we can't make that kind of alloy, and Marine won't sell it to us. Is that so? Seeing that the 2 master shipbuilders were in a dilemma, Luffy also frowned. No matter what, it is impossible for him not to consider the Mary. Wait, did you just say alloy? Suddenly, Luffy thought of something. He grabbed Frankie's shoulder suddenly. Yes. Frankie stared in astonishment with Luffy. I have a solution. Alloy, right? There is a solution. Luffy was overjoyed and hurriedly dragged the 2 of them away. Not long after, they returned to the Mary together. Wow, it's really a pervert to treat swimming trunks as casual clothes. Sanji circled around Frankie, evaluating seriously. Usopp is different. He tapped Frankie's arm joints excitedly. You are so iron. Can you still move? Usopp, come and see. There's a small warehouse on his A. Chopper shouted, as if he had discovered a treasure. So, this is our new partner? Nami is speechless. It's just Luffy's decision, and she naturally won't object. Although everyone's impression of him is a surprise. But Frankie is very happy. Haha, I will be your shipbuilder in the future. Please take care of me. Speaking, Frankie made a diagonal lunge, then brought the backs of his hands together and raised them obliquely above his head at a 45-degree. Super. 1. The whole action and slogan are like flowing clouds and flowing water, done in one go. Luffy and Ace Buggy covered their faces at the same time, turning their heads to 10,703. Damn. We don't know. This idiot, wow. However, Usopp and Chopper almost instantly turned up. The 2 imitated Fran's appearance at the same time. Super. The other partners of the Straw Hat Pirates are also full of black lines. Good guy. This disease is a bit serious. The phenomenon of human-to-human transmission occurred just after we met, and it was directly 1 person infecting 2 people. After a while, Nami took the munch fruit from the room to the deck and handed it to Luffy. Here it is. And Frankie is looking at the introduction of munch fruit on the Devil Fruit illustrated book. It can turn swallowed things into a part of the body and can also synthesize new things. After seeing this introduction, Frankie was shocked. Doesn't that mean if I swallow the treasure tree atom and then swallow steel, wouldn't it be possible to synthesize new ones? Atom alloy? Why? Hearing this, Luffy was taken aback. Yeah, since anything can be fused in theory, of course treasure tree atom can too. Luffy looks at Frankie in surprise. You can also do 3-in-1, 4-in-1, and do some comparative tests. Let's see how the effects and strengths of various alloys are. Yes. The extra materials can also strengthen the Mary, killing two birds with one stone. Usopp also very much agrees with this idea. What a smart way. Hearing this, Frankie's eyes lit up too. At this time, Zoro nodded. I think this idea is okay. Swallow it in one bite. Because the new alloy will be synthesized by Atom Treasure Tree and steel, its output will definitely exceed the amount of Atom Treasure Tree alone. Thinking of this, he picked up the Munch Munch fruit without hesitation. But now the idea put forward by Frankie is to directly fuse the Treasure Tree atom with steel. Wouldn't it be possible to obtain a new type of product that extracts the advantages of Treasure Tree atom and steel? If there is really a better material than Baoshu atom, then for a shipbuilder like him, it is definitely the most beautiful thing in the world. Alloy. This guy is a shipbuilder, and his thinking on materials is farther than I thought. In this way, the newly synthesized materials must be stable enough. Luffy originally planned to let Frankie use the ability of Munch Munch fruit to create an alloy that can make up for the lack of Atom Treasure Tree. Ask for flowers, ask for evaluation, ask for a reward, ask for a monthly ticket. And Luffy thought for a while, then said, "That's good. When the materials of Baoshu atom are available, let's use 1% to experiment first. How many kinds of strong materials can be fused together?" Chapter 122, 3 Night Attack, Enies Lobby. Please subscribe. Joe LD Roger. Using the Treasure Tree atom to make alloys. I am so obedient. If this is successful, how strong is the ship? Shiki. Back then, ordinary cannonballs didn't respond to your ship. If they made this Treasure Tree alloy, and then it was built by the two best shipbuilders in the world, wouldn't it be invincible? Vegapunk. It's a pity that I don't have the material of Baoshu atom. Otherwise, I would like to try the alloy synthesized by Baoshu atom Wapple. Using Munch Munch fruit to make alloys? That's a good idea. I'll try it later. Marshall D. Teach. That's great. I just don't have a formal pirate ship yet. If you make an alloy better than steel, sell it to me, and the price is good. Wapple. Get out. Do you think I'm stupid? Although Wapple doesn't know why Blackbeard Teach is eyeing him, but he knows how he fell into the hands of Blackbeard Teach, and he will definitely end badly. During the period after that, the Straw Hat Pirates temporarily lived in the capital of Seven Waters. The purchase of Treasure Tree atom went smoothly, and finally spent a total of 500 million Baileys to buy all the wood of the two Treasure Tree atoms. Frankie got 1% off one of them, and then started the road of alchemy. Luffy relies on everyone to brainstorm, and if there is nothing to do, interrogate a few people from CP9. For example, store everyone's farts with Weibei, and then bet on the captive's nose. Another example is that Buggy splits and controls 100 feathers to tickle them. There's also a specially made spherical bamboo basket. Throwing captives into it, Nami activates the slippery fruit ability, making the captives inside passively spin like a little hamster spinning a ball. In short, I used a lot of those that got on the table, and those that didn't. However, CP9 is worthy of being an agent who has been trained since he was a child, and he didn't say a single word about the training method of Marine 6 Dials Carrera's shipyard. New ships have already started construction. The material is a super alloy made of 11 materials, such as Baoshu atom, black iron, ore, diamond, ore, and rubber. The properties of the new super alloy not only reach the firmness comparable to diamonds, but also have excellent perfect density and the toughness of rubber, etc. You mean these CP9 will only unswervingly obey the orders of their chiefs? Luffy looked at Ace Bagoo. When chatting with him just now, Luffy suddenly heard an important meaning from his words. Ace Bagoo shrugged his shoulders. Yeah, it's like they were undercover by my side. From the beginning, they learned to be handymen who didn't know anything, and gradually became the best foremen. Think about them. How did you live in the past 5 years? How did you live? Luffy asked suspiciously. They really put themselves into the identity of the shipbuilder. Califa and Blueno really took the identity of the occult and the owner of the bar. Aside from the fact that Califa is an undercover agent, she has been by my side for 5 years and has really done the work that secret arts can do well. And Blueno is well known in the entire capital of Seven Waters. Think about how scary these people are. As long as the task is issued, they will execute it unswervingly. Even if it is an unknown field, they will do their best to do it well. Ace Buggy said seriously. That's it. Hearing this, Luffy rubbed his chin. He seems to have suddenly found a way to pry open the mouths of those CP9s. So, Luffy inquired, who is their chief? Sir, Ace Buggy's expression changed immediately when he heard the CP9 chief. That is hatred from the depths of the soul. Then he told Luffy about the past 20 years ago how Tom, the world's #1 shipbuilder, got an amnesty by building sea trains, and then how Spandam used Frankie's battleship to frame Frankie and Tom in order to get the Pluton blueprints, and how Spandam stomped on Tom's head. How did Frankie the gun but smash the bridge of Spandam's nose, and so on. All about it one after listening, Luffy was shocked. Unexpectedly, Tom was sentenced to death for building a boat for Roger. This crime is too nonsense. When Tom built the ship for Roger, Roger was not the One Piece. Then after Roger was executed, Tom was convicted for this. Luffy showed an unbelievable expression and laughed loudly. This is simply the most ridiculous name in the world. GOLD, Roger. Tom was betrayed and executed for building a ship for me? Horse riding, which BD gave the crime. When seeing this scene, Roger was blown away. He never expected to kill Tom because he asked Tom to build a ship. Shiki, this has to be Sengoku. 80% of it is his dog. Otherwise, he will be punished and deduct so many lifespans. Sengoku. FKU. That's an order from the government of the world, and it should be the crime conveyed by CP5 at that time. What does it have to do with me? As soon as Shiki wanted to pour dirty water on him, Sengoku couldn't sit still. Shiki. Got it. It turned out that those 5 old bastards did it. Jiahahaha. Sengoku. FK. UBD. Normally speaking, with Sengoku's IQ, he would definitely not be fooled by such a low level. But because what Shiki just said was sudden, and it hurt Sengoku's age sore spot, Sengoku was instantly enraged and was tricked by Shiki Izambaron v. Nasho Langshan. The ship he built has achieved the reputation of a heinous big pirate. Shouldn't he deserve to die? GOLD, Roger. Fart. If Admiral and Marine rebels, shouldn't the person who paid this Marine Admiral's salary also deserve to die? Shouldn't the builder of the warship that Marine Admiral was on also deserve to die? Sengoku. Roger. Don't fart. Saying that Marine Admiral rebelled. You don't have a brain? If there is a Marine Admiral rebellion, I will write Sengoku's name upside down. Shiki. Don't say those useless things. You just say that Roger's questioning is right. Crane. How can pirates and Marines be confused? Edward Newgate. Goo-la-la-la-la. Treat it differently, right? Anyway, the crime was decided by the government of the world, so he can say whatever he wants, right? It's ugly. Don Quixote da Flamingo. Fufurfur. Where is this? If you talk about the ugly things of the world government, I can say it for a week without stopping Maka's Mazin. Da Flamingo. Don't get carried away. Don Quixote da Flamingo. Fufurfur. Seeing that 5 elders specifically reminded him. Da Flamingo, stop talking after all. Even though he has obtained the blood succession boundary, Lin Dun, extension, he is still far from being invincible. Now that the other party, 5 elders, has spoken, let's do him a favor. Ace Buggy said. Yes. This crime is really outrageous. But even so, because the world government needs our master to build a sea train, so he delayed his execution and gave him time to build a sea train. I didn't expect that in the end he was still killed by the world government using despicable means. This Spandam is damn. The more Luffy thinks about this, the angrier he gets. It's fine if he's just a passerby. But now that he has accepted Frankie as a partner, this matter is not a matter for outsiders. What's more, he really needs to talk to the chief of CP9. Ace Buggy continued. After that incident, the world government was very satisfied with Spandam's work style, and it didn't take long to promote him to the chief of CP9. After he grasped the CP9 card in his hand, he will do things for the world government. It's even easier to do dirty things. After learning about this past, Luffy went to Frankie again and told him something. Then, Luffy returns to the Mary and calls Usopp. In the evening, the three of them took the C train to Eni's lobby and arrived at Eni's lobby smoothly. When the Eni's lobby personnel on the train finished getting off, a figure quietly slipped down. Luffy, do you really not plan to tell other partners about this matter? Usopp is carrying his small bag, nervously using observation haki to sense the surroundings. Yes, only the three of us know about it. Otherwise, if someone slips up, it will be very troublesome. Especially Sanji, when he sees a woman who can't walk. As long as he knows, the secret is, Luffy nodded, then waved his hand. No one here. Under the cover of night, the three of them quickly walked through the main island of Eni's lobby. There are a lot of guards on this island, but now it's arrest time, and Luffy's super observation haki made it easy for them to reach the referee. There are very few guards in the referee, and the three of them walked over almost swaggering. When they arrived at the Judicial Tower, the office of CP9, the drawbridge had already been closed. There is a bottomless ocean abyss between the court and the Judicial Tower. Hold on to me. Luffy held one in each hand, and then his legs elongated at a whiz, turning into a big bamboo pole with a height of nearly 100 meters. Then he took a step forward and easily stepped onto the ground of Tongfa Pagoda. However, the architectural structure of the Judiciary Tower really stunned the three of them. It is intricate and maze-like, and Luffy discovered one thing. When the number of barrier layers of the wall reaches a certain number, it will greatly affect the perception of observation haki. However, if you think about it carefully, it seems that this is indeed the case. The principle of observation haki is to make people's five senses more acute and can detect the breath and emotional changes of surrounding creatures. After so many layers of walls are separated, the breath and emotional changes of creatures will be weakened layer by layer, which will naturally affect observation haki. In Spandam's office, it's really good. These two devil fruits can just be used as reward for those guys in Shudu. After completing the task when the time comes, you will definitely be grateful. And work harder for me, ha ha ha. Spandam held a devil fruit in one hand and said triumphantly. Crunch the door is pushed open. Spandam looked up subconsciously, huh? Who are these three people? Click. Before he could react, Luffy's Conqueror's haki directly stunned him. Quick, drag away. Luffy waved forward. Usopp and Frankie rushed up. Huh, here are two devil fruits. Usopp is not too polite, just grabbed it and stuffed it into a small satchel. Afterwards, the three of them took the Spandam to the place where the sea train stopped and took out the Sea Blimp 1 prepared in advance from the storage room of the last carriage. After going up, head straight towards the capital of Seven Waters. After returning to the water capital, the Japanese brought Spandam back to a secret bridge hole that only Frankie knew. A basin of water was poured on it, and Spandam was woken up. He opened his eyes leisurely and suddenly realized that he was no longer in the office. But in front of him was a strange and dirty place, and three strangers were looking at him indifferently. He suddenly became furious. A hole. Do you know who I am? I am. Snapped. A crisp sound. Okay, if we don't know who you are, we won't tie you up. Frankie slapped Spandam back what he wanted to say. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Frankie. Oh no. My previous name was Carter Frame. Recalling that Spandam didn't know the name Frankie at all, Frankie immediately reported his previous name, Carter Frame. At first he was taken aback, but then he suddenly remembered who the name was. What? You are Carter Frame, although it has been more than 20 years. Even if I forget my gender, Spandam will not. Wang Zhao, forget this name. It was this guy's slam gun, but hit over 20 years ago, that deformed his face so badly that he had to wear a cross leather mask over his face. Damn, you didn't die? Damn, I knew you weren't dead. Damn, Lousy has been looking for you for so many years. Seeing Frankie surprisingly still alive, Spandam immediately roared angrily. Coincidentally, I have been waiting for this day for so many years. Thinking of Spandam framing Tom and causing Tom's tragic death, Frankie starts from his heart. He went up and gave Spandam a few big fights, and the slap dazzled him, and the seven orifices were full of smoke and purple clouds. Luffy signaled Frankie to wait a moment. It's important to get down to business. B. Wind shell. Ding. Enter the prize-winning answering session. Luffy looked at Usopp. Get something, let's do it. Hey, Yimbe, good. Asking for flowers, seeking evaluation, asking for a reward, asking for a monthly ticket, asking for a subscription. At this moment, a question appeared on the big screen. Spandam has eaten a few big fights, and now he is really old. Question: what kind of shellfish did Red Luffy ask Usopp to bring out? Usopp took off the small shoulder bag he was carrying and put it on the table, then reached in. You are committing a crime. You are going against the government of the world. D. Shock shell. Spandam sees this posture. This is about to execute. Imbe. He was so scared that he hurriedly yelled in horror. Hey, I am a chief of CP9. You can't kill me. I, and you will see. Bye. Chapter 123, Nozarashi and Ice Escape. Please subscribe. Shiki. It's time to answer the question again. Captain Rox, why don't you answer the question? Rox D. Zebek. You stay away from me, Shiki. Although I answer the last question correctly, I still have to take it easy on this one, otherwise I will get killed if I accidentally answer it wrong. I am already 36 years old now. If I am deducted for 11 months and 28 days, I will become 37 years old. Hearing Shiki's strange een and yang, Sengoku suddenly felt his lungs convulse. Can't bear it, can't bear it. Sengoku. BD. Don't get carried away. I was able to suppress you with Garp 20 years ago, and I can do the same now. Shiki. TSK, but the problem is, now I'm not the only one in Naval Headquarters, Jiha. Standing on the deck of the Moby DK. Shiki's mouth is full of smug smile. It feels so good to be resurrected. Especially resurrecting in the state of its heyday. It feels even better. The most important thing is that now he has a chance to get rid of his shame, Kid Eustace. I choose A. Looking at the situation, it is obvious that Spandam must be tortured. Yinbei is the most suitable. Roast him to death with fire. Basil Hawkins. It makes sense, it should be torture, but I think the impact shell is more appropriate. I choose D. Sengoku. Akiji, don't be dumbfounded. I don't think there are many questions left. If you can answer a question, it's a question. Hurry up. GOLD Roger. Sengoku is trying to push people around again. It's really bad. Akiji. Let me choose D too. In fact, Akiji didn't want to choose it first. He felt that the 20% probability is still quite difficult to guess, isn't it? But Sengoku pointed it out. So Akiji had no choice but to choose. There are advantages to being wrong. At least you don't have to listen to Sengoku's reminders for the next question. Sengoku, Sakazuki, Polyusolino. Cake, don't waste your chance to answer the questions. Usopp, pick C. Sakazuki. I choose C too. Seeing one of the protagonists in the video appeared, Sakazuki felt that it would be right to follow him, Charlotte Linlin. Pick C. This kid chose C. He's sure he knows what he's used to relying on. Like Sakazuki, Charlotte Linlin, better luck on Usopp Polyusolino. Let me choose one. Let me see. Jack, pick A. Quinn, I choose a 2. This time I actually chose the same as the idiot Jack. I'm really ADK. Monkey D. Luffy. I choose D. Friends also choose. Don't waste the opportunity to answer the question. Listening to Luffy's persuasion, 043 of the Straw Hat Pirates has black lines on their foreheads. Is this called not to waste the opportunity to answer questions? This is clearly a waste of life. Roronoa Zoro. Then I choose E. Can he also use torture? Polyusolino. Isn't Imbe torturing people with sound? It makes sense. The old man also chooses E. Jewelry Bonnie. Choose E. Hey, swordsman, I chose it with you. If I make a mistake, I will settle accounts with you. Roronoa Zoro. What an unreasonable woman. Countdown to answer questions. With the end of the countdown to answering the questions, the red frame video was played again. Usopp reaches out and molds in the satchel. He took out several shells, all of which looked the same. Hey, what do you want to do? Looking at Luffy and the 3 of them holding shells and surrounding them, Spandam panicked. Listen, as long as you are obedient, we will let you go afterward. Luffy is telling lies openly and above board. Of course, this lie is still very useful for people like Spandam, who are greedy for life and afraid of death. As if hearing a life-saving straw, Spandam hurriedly asked nervously. Really? As long as I obediently do what you say, are you really willing to let me go? One, of course. Luffy nodded very seriously. What about him? Can you let me go? Spandam looks at Frankie. Frankie snorted coldly. Of course I won't let you go. But if my captain says to let you go, there's nothing I can do. Luffy continued. Listen up. I want you to give a few people in CP9 a new mission according to my intention. What? This is impossible. Upon hearing this, Spandam hastily shouted that it was impossible. Luffy didn't argue anything, but gave up the position to Zwicky. Frankie rubbed his fist together and gave Spandam a seed. Punch. Luffy asks, is it possible now? Spandam hastily cried and shouted, I can do it. Subsequently, Luffy began to teach Spandam how to speak commands, and they also simulated a variety of possible dialogues, allowing Spandam to practice and demonstrate again and again. Kid Eustace, so what shell did he pull out? After watching it for a long time, only Luffy and the others are practicing speaking, just like acting in a melodrama. Usopp changed a shell for a while and did nothing. Jack. Yeah. I took it for a long time, but it didn't tell me what kind of shell it was. What was it shaking like? Polyusolino. Didn't you plan to execute the sentence? Didn't you get punched a few times? Crane. Don't worry. In the future, it will definitely be announced. The next day, the Straw Hat Pirates locked the CP9 dead man in the warehouse. Because they are not within the sight range of the Straw Hat Pirates, even Kaku and Califa, who are not devil fruit capable, were tied from top to bottom with iron cables and tied into two snakes lying on the ground. Damn, these guys really don't give us a chance lying on the ground on his back. Califa gritted his teeth and said, don't think about it. We can't escape. They are not ordinary pirates. How could they relax their vigilance against us just because we are not capable? Kaku was also tied up into rice dumplings horizontally on the other side, and Blueno and Luffy were soaked in seawater wooden barrel shackles and cages. Blueno looked at Luffy next door and said helplessly, these guys actually use this method to limit the abilities. It's really hateful. But just as his voice fell, Kacha, his wooden barrel, actually cracked. At this moment, other kind eyes shot over at once. They looked at the wall of the wooden barrel, where Blueno was. There was a crack that seemed to be forced out by Blueno's body. There is a way. Seeing this scene, Luffy suddenly regained his energy, and he shouted in a low voice, Kaku, Califa, move over quickly and see if there is any way to knock down his wooden barrel. Good. Kaku and Califa naturally understand that this is their only chance. Both of them took a lot of effort to move themselves to the side of Blueno's barrel. If they are under normal conditions, they must remember Tempest Kick to destroy the barrel. But now they are tied up with big iron chains, and they have been hungry for 2 or 3 days, so they can't destroy the barrel at all. It seems that everything is in the calculation of the Straw Hat Pirates. The two of them worked together with the little strength left, tried many times, and finally caught the strength of the wall and knocked down the wooden barrel. The seawater in the wooden barrel flows out slowly towards the crevice as the seawater continues to decrease. Blueno is obviously getting more vitality. When the seawater was almost exhausted, Blueno pushed the barrel open. Afterwards, he also tore up the wooden barrel on the road platform. Lucci regained his strength and broke the chains of Kaku and Califa. He looks at Blueno. Get out of here first. Good. Open the door at the bottom of the boat. Blueno didn't choose to open the door to leave from the side, because he knew that those guys on the ship were very strong at this time. If they were discovered, they might not be able to escape. 1. If you choose to open the door from the bottom of the boat, even though you will fall directly into the sea, but with Califa and Kaku, he and Luffy will not be drowned, not long from a certain port for people got out of the water. Damn it, since I started the mission, when have I been in such a mess? Those guys, you must not let them go easily. Luffy took a deep breath, feeling extremely aggrieved that day. The scene where Luffy randomly stomped him on the ground like a joke suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. Shame. Too shameful. The four of them went back to the warehouse of Blueno Bar, then took out a phone bug and dialed the signal of Spandam. Puff, puff, puff. In the underground bridge hole, in front of Spandam, a phone bug rang. This phone bug is specially used by Spandam to answer the calls of CP9 people, and his master, Spandam, is unconscious beside him at this time. Luffy connected to the phone bug, put a sound shell next to it. Hello. The voice of Spandam comes from Barry, exactly the same. I only heard Liu Key's voice from the other end of the phone. Sir, something happened. Our identities have been found out, and now everything is about to be suspended. Luffy changed another sound shell, and Spandam's angry voice came from inside. What? Are you guys eating shit? What's going on? A lot of scenarios and possibilities have been simulated yesterday, so Luffy recorded a lot. When this scene appeared, moviegoers suddenly understood. Charlotte Linlin. Nanny, isn't this what Red Luffy taught that leather-faced man to say yesterday? Why did it come out of the shell? Charlotte Perispero. Mom, that's a tone shell. Charlotte Linlin. Ah. BD. That old lady gave the wrong answer. Kid Eustace. Damn it. No wonder Usopp was holding shells by the side when they were demonstrating yesterday. It turned out to be recording. Sakazuki, damn. Then I got the wrong answer. Akiji, I was wrong too. Polyusilino, but I got the answer right. Woo, what a surprise. So scary, Monkey D. Luffy. Zoro, you got it right. Usopp. I was wrong, Jewelry Polly, I followed the swordsman to choose, and I chose the right one. That's great. Swordsman. I won't settle accounts with you. Roronoa Zoro. You stupid woman. Ding. Anyone who answers wrongly in this prize quiz will be punished. Kid Eustace, deprived of the right to answer questions in the next round, deducting 4 months and 19 days of life. Basil Hawkins, deprived of the right to answer the next round of questions, deducting 5 months of life. Akiji, the right to answer the next round of questions will be deprived, and 7 months and 7 days of life will be deducted. Sakazuki, the right to answer the next round of questions will be deprived, and life expectancy will be deducted for 2 months and 3 days. Usopp, deprived of the right to answer the next round of questions, deducting 6 months and 21 days of life. Akiji, hey, Akiji is very depressed sure enough. As he expected, he was still killed. This damn movie viewing is over soon. Otherwise, Sengoku is always urging us to answer the questions. Ding! The top 3 correct answers in this quiz are Roronoa Zoro, Polyusilino, and Jewelry Polly. Congratulations to the 3. Get rewards. Congratulations, Roronoa Zoro. Reward Zampakit Nozarashi. Congratulations to Polyusilino. Reward Blood Succession Boundary. Ice Escape. Congratulations to Jewelry Polly. And reward Elf Angel Burning Ghost Killer. Ding. Because Zampakit Nozarashi. Reward Blood Succession Boundary. Ice Escape. Spirit Angel, Scorching Killing Ghost are magical things from Otherworld. Special remarks are made. Zampakit Nozarashi remarks. Nozarashi is a weapon built from its own soul, and users can gain power through spiritual dialogue with it. It is a direct attack type Zampakit with super powerful combat power. The upper limit is currently unknown. Roronoa Zoro. It's a knife. That's great. Bista. The rewards of the viewing system are all related to the rewardee's own situation. For a swordsman like him, I'm afraid this reward is not easy. Izong. The reward for a swordsman is a sword. What's so simple? Dracul Mihawk. It's really not easy, because the upper limit of this knife's combat power is currently unknown. This shows that in the original world of this knife has gone through countless battle, but still haven't measured its limit. If you give it to me, you should give it some kind of light escape or flash escape, right? But when the information of ice escape appeared in his mind, Polyusilino realized that this is simply an escape technique tailored for him. Isn't this special mother with Akiji's name written on it? With his sparkling fruit ability, he can shoot anywhere in the frozen formation directly through reflection, and he can also reach any position in the frozen formation in an instant. In fact, Polyusilino was also very confused when he heard the reward of ice escape just now. With ice done in hand, he can create a large frozen formation, various frozen mirrors, etc. in an instant. How did it get into my hands? Ridiculously strong. Vin Smokes Sanji. Green algae head. You're making a big splash. Not only can ice escape be used as an attack method, but the most important thing is that ice can reflect light. Roronoa Zoro. It would be nice if it was a knife. Very nice. I can already feel the sound of it. How did you get an ice escape? Sakazuki. Ice escape? Why do you guys reward ice escape? Shouldn't this be a suitable reward for Akiji? Kira, it's so strong. With the distribution of rewards, Zoro has begun to hear the call from the sword spirit in his soul, blood succession boundary. Ice escape. Remarks Polysolino, then he must have that kind of luck. But having said that, I found that this ice escape is very suitable for me. The 5 basic escape techniques are water style, fire style, earth style, wind style, lightning style. The fusion of water style and wind style will produce ice escape. Chapter 124, The Cleaner of the Straw Hats. Please subscribe. Spirit Angel Scorching Ghost Remarks. Angel of the 5th Elf. When it appears, it is a huge battle axe with flames. It is powerful and can cause both physical and flame damage to the enemy. Different from the bulky appearance, it can release the flame blade for agile attacks, and the cut objects will be burned by the flames. It can be transformed into the form of Burning Ghost Killer Cannon, which is a long-range attack form. Has super destructive and penetrating power. After recognizing the owner will have the regeneration ability like a phoenix. Even if he is seriously injured, he will be able to recover as before, and the wound will have flames to heal the wound. Really, after seeing the common introduction of burning ghosts, all the movie viewers couldn't help but utter a complaint. This is a powerful flame battle axe with dual physical and fire damage. This is understandable. Into the form of a cannon, it has super destructive power and penetrating power. That's acceptable too. But this thing actually has the ability to regenerate like a phoenix. And the way of self-healing is to emit flames like a phoenix and then heal the wound. More importantly, this thing is not cursed by sea water. Marco's devil fruit in phoenix form is the younger brother by comparison. Polysolino, why don't you give me this reward, Kazan? What? You still want to grab it with a big axe? Polysolino, with such a good ability, are you still commenting on a big axe? Kid Eustace, this reward is too strong. Basil Hawkins, the ranking of supernovas is going to change a lot. Urge. Those of us who didn't get rewards will be at the bottom. Marco. This reward is too much. Vista, ha ha ha. Marco, this is an advanced version of your devil fruit. Edward Newgate, go. Jewelry Bonnie, come be my daughter. 1 Jewelry Bonnie. Crazy. Gold Roger. The little girl scolds well. Let this old man want to be someone else's father all day long. At this time, as the rewards are distributed, the frozen frame in the red frame video continues to play, facing Spandam's angry reprimand. Luke Key said in a deep voice, "We met Nico Robin, and we planned to capture her secretly, but we didn't expect that she has now joined a group of pirates called the Straw Hat Pirates. The strength of those guys very strong. Even I am no match." Speaking of which, Luke Key's heart is dense and nestled. And Luffy is smiling because the script has obviously started to develop in the direction he wanted. The following script have been recorded. He takes another tone shell from Usopp and plays it. Spandam's voice appears. What? You mean the Straw Hat Pirates? Yeah, is there any problem? Luke, he wondered. Spandam's voice. This pirate group killed the crocodile of the 7 warlords of the sea. Now the world government has regarded them as a thorn in the side. The above analysis shows that this fire pirate group may become a new world in the near future. Very difficult forces. Listen, since you have met them, find a way to go undercover among them. Such a pirate group, it is impossible not to recruit people. Undercover. Hearing this, Luke Key's face is indeed a bit ugly. If he hadn't met the Straw Hat Pirates before, then he would definitely continue this mission without hesitation. But now, he thought for a while, then said, actually, we were caught by them before. They wanted to ask us about the cultivation method of Marine 6 styles. Now we took advantage of a very good opportunity and escaped by relying on Blueno's door fruit ability. Judging from the current situation, it's not impossible for me to be an undercover agent, But if I want to gain their trust, the Marine 6 Styles training method will definitely be lost. Are you a pig? Just give them the training methods of the 6th Marine Master. Is that something that you can learn after giving it? Besides, there are more Marines who know Marine 6 Styles. Even if you don't tell them, don't they catch other Marines? It's really a bunch of pig brains. Listen carefully. I now officially give you an order to undercover the Straw Hat Pirates. You will go undercover for me at all costs. If the undercover is successful, don't do anything to arouse their suspicion. Just give me a safe place to stay on their boat. You just need to monitor his every move, and you don't need to report. When this force becomes famous in New World, then I will issue a report on the eradication of the Straw Hat Pirates in the newspaper in the name of my CP9 chief. Notice, as long as you see that it is sent in my name, find an opportunity to contact me secretly. Other circumstances all stand still. Spandam's voice is almost roaring. Yes, I got it. Because he messed up the last mission just now. Luffy is also in the wrong now. And this is the order of the chief after all. He can't refute it. At this time, Spandam's voice sounded again. That's right. Let Blueno take today's sea train back to Eni's lobby alone. His fruit ability will be very useful for the next mission. Luffy, Kaku, and Califa, you three a mission to undercover the Straw Hat Pirates. Yes. The voice of Spandam said again. Okay, from now on, the mission will officially start. After hanging up this call, don't contact me in any other way until you see the notice I posted in the newspaper. Think of yourself as a pirate, a complete pirate. After speaking, the voice from the phone bug hangs up in the bar warehouse. The four of CP9 look at each other. What should we do now? Califa was the first to break the silence. Do as the officer says. Luffy said in a deep voice. Hearing this, Califa shook his head. No, I mean, how do we go undercover to the Straw Hat Pirates? Luffy thought for a while and suddenly frowned. It's not easy, but I have to try. Then he looked at Blueno. You go to the train station first. We need to make up some things for later. If people from the Straw Hat Pirates see that we are with you, I can't tell. Hearing this, Blueno nodded. Okay. Then everyone take care. Take care. Blueno nodded from the other three. After parting ways, Blueno went to the train station. There is a sea train from the capital of Seven Waters to Eni's lobby every day, but because Eni's lobby is a special place, only the staff of Eni's lobby will take this train every day. Blueno got on the train, and there is no doubt that it is another empty train compartment. At this time, a person suddenly appeared at the door of this carriage. The moment Blueno raised his head, his eyes widened suddenly. What, it's you? As soon as he finished speaking, a huge hand grabbed him instantly, and then he lost consciousness. When he opened his eyes again, he was already in the basement of the city hall. This is where. Blueno looked around, looking at the strange environment around him. Suddenly, he looked at his hands again and exclaimed, Are these sea stone handcuffs? Yeah, I didn't expect the black market to sell this stuff, so I just sold some. I just found out that this thing is much easier to use than seawater wooden barrels, Luffy said with a smile while holding a sea stone handcuff. Seeing Luffy playing with sea stone handcuffs, Blueno was shocked again. He shouted, No. Aren't you demon fruit power? How can you hold a sea stone like this? This one, Luffy took a look at the sea stone handcuffs and said with a faint smile, This can indeed restrain the power of devil fruit. And it will also make people with abilities feel weak, but it will not make people lose their ability to move completely. But the problem is, even if it's like what you said, it will still be very uncomfortable for the capable person to touch the sea stone. Seeing Luffy laughing and laughing while holding the sea stone handcuffs, Blueno can't understand, is this person stupid? Luffy shrugged his shoulders and said with a smile, Oh, I'm getting used to this feeling. It's very interesting. Monkey D. Luffy, Over there, I'm actually using the side effects of sea stone. Is this okay? Kaido. The restraining effect of sea stone on capable users will indeed produce tolerance. If you can endure the weakness and discomfort that sea stone brings to yourself, and try to adapt to this feeling, you can indeed, in the long-term practice, the sea stone's self-restraint effect will be weakened. Hannibal, is that so? No wonder those capable people in the prison were as motionless as dead dogs when they first came in. After being locked up for a long time, they can walk with sea stone handcuffs, Magellan. It's just that the body has developed resistance to sea stone, but the seal effect of devil fruit is impossible to loosen. But it's all passive. The effect is very general. At most, you can walk. And the red Luffy in the video screen, this kind of active cultivation is different. Kaido, yes. Active cultivation will make you stronger. In this area, Kaido has the right to speak adaptation. Blueno is so stupid. Seeking Flowers Zoro, he is an ability user. CP9 department also has sea stone handcuffs. Of course, he knows what it feels like for an ability user to wear sea stone handcuffs. It is his current weak condition. An uncomfortable one. What is this place? At this time, a thin man next to him also woke up. Blueno turned his head and looked over, suddenly confused. Nero the Sea Weasel? Why are you, a rookie from CP9 here? Sea Weasel Nero said bitterly, I came to the water today to do business, but when I went back, I ran into them and saw them taking you. So, I was also arrested. It's okay, since you two know each other. Let's just be here as a companion. Luffy chuckled. Then, he said to Usopp next to him, I explained to them, don't let accidents happen. Usopp patted his chest. Okay, leave it to me. Luffy is out of the room. Ace Bagoo and Frankie are talking outside. Seeing Luffy come out, they greeted them. Ace Bagoo said, this is the abandoned cell under the city hall. It used to be used to lock up prisoners. Now it is only guarded by a deaf-mute old man. Don't worry, they are locked in here, nothing will happen. Luffy nodded. Okay, that's fine. Just in case, I will take the keys of the sea stone handcuffs and the keys of the iron chains on them. This should completely, there is no problem. At this time, Usopp inside shouted, Luffy, come and see, is this okay? The three of them went in together when they heard the shout. I saw that the sea stone handcuffs and sea stone shackles are in place, and there are also shackles with large steel chains to tie them to the wall. So they're safe? Hey, I'm not a capable person, so there's no need to put such heavy sea stone handcuffs and shackles on me, right? Nero said wryly. Luffy curled her lips. Stop talking nonsense. I've already brought all the belts, so I won't take them off. Wait. I don't understand one thing. Seeing that Luffy and others are leaving, Blueno suddenly shouted. What's the matter? Since your three companions are about to become cleaners of the Straw Hat Pirates, I can answer your three questions. If you don't understand anything, just ask. Luffy stopped and looked back at Blueno. Cleaner? What do you mean? Blueno suddenly thought of the order given by the CP9 officer before. He suddenly understood what was happening and said in shock, What? Could it be that you forced him to give the order from the officer? FB. Luffy spread out his hands. It's almost. Anyway, it's what I mean. Hearing this and thinking about his current situation, Blueno has no doubts about Luffy's words. Damn Spandam. What a soft bone. Probably guessed the process, Blueno said angrily. He looked at Luffy again. What did you mean when you said that my partner will be the cleaner on your boat? They won't be in danger, right? This is the second question. I originally wanted to learn about the cultivation method of marine six styles from your mouth through your chief, but I suddenly thought that the new ship we bought was more than the level is big, and someone will definitely need to clean it up, so I gave you an undercover order. After all, you are unswervingly executing the orders of your superiors. So if you don't make good use of hardworking coolies, it's a waste of money. Hearing what Luffy said, Blueno suddenly had an incredible expression on his face. Using CP9 as a cleaner? Did my ears hallucinate? Why would someone in this world have such a weird idea? And actually did it. Blueno thinks either he is crazy or the world is crazy day. After calming down, Blueno asked again, Then why only the three of them and not me? Luffy grinned slightly. This question is actually not difficult to guess, right? You are a Doorfruit ability user. If I don't pay attention and slip away, I really can't help it. The three of them, it's different. Two non-capable people, one Zonzawamo capable person. The ability background is very clear, and there will be no moths. Okay, you and this newcomer can play here. After we circle the Grand Line for a week, there will be no need for cleaners, and you should be released by then. Already. Come on, Luffy led people out of the cell in the big cell. Only Blueno and Nero are left. Look at me, I look at you. Chapter 125 Luffy is the director, screenwriter, and also participates in the show in person. Please subscribe. Nami. So, the CP9 over there is going to be the cleaner of our Straw Hat Pirates? Skillickmanap. Ah, blah blah. Use CP9 as a cleaner. The red Luffy over there is too good at playing. Trafalgar Law. Is this something you can play or not? Now that you have learned this trick, do you dare to play like this? Jewelry Polly. Without strong strength and self-confidence, even if CP9 offered to come to your door, you wouldn't dare to accept it. Usopp. For us, not only is Luffy too strong, but even I can easily deal with CP9s like Kaku, so Luffy dares to play like this Nico Robin. Yes, we over there have not had any life-and-death feud with CP9, otherwise, Red Luffy would have killed them instead of using them. Frankie. That's right, we have experienced the Battle of Water City and Enies Lobby here, and our grievances with CP9 are too strong. But there, even I only have a relationship with Spandam Hate. There is no intersection with these CP9s before Vinsmoke Sanji. The trouble now is CP9 over there, right? They found a way to take the initiative to send them to our door to be our cleaners. Nami. Ah yeah, let's see how they perform. The capital of Seven Waters. The sun isn't a barren port. What are you doing? Why did you bring me here? Didn't you agree that as long as I cooperate with you, you'll let me go? Spandam was tied into a rice dumpling and tied to a big rock. At this time, Kikong was so frightened that she shed tears. Luffy picked his nostrils, frowned, and said, "Really? Did I say so?" Spandam hurriedly shouted desperately. I said it. I said it. You said it under the bridge hole. Brother, you can't take your word for it. Oh, Lu, 623. Faye rubbed his chin, as if remembering. Then he looked at Spandam, said with a heavy face, "Then it seems I'm going to break my promise, one ah." Hearing this, Spandam's eyeballs almost popped out. He shouted in shock, "No, no, no. Don't be joking. How can a strong man like you break your promise? Please, just treat me as your fart. Let me go, please." Even though Spandam was tied horizontally on the ground, he still kowtowed as hard as he could at this moment, madly wanting to beg for mercy. Ghost Spider. I also remember that he said before that as long as Spandam cooperates, he will release Spandam. Now he is so shameless that he is going to break his promise. Sakazuki. From the moment he became a pirate, he was already a heinous guy. This is the face of a pirate, Sora. Just let the world see what kind of virtuous things pirates are. Joel D. Roger. Sora, how did you manage to put on a face without knowing it? Shiki. If he had self-knowledge, he wouldn't be able to say such a thing. Ha ha. Edward Newgate. Get it right. The red Luffy over there will never kidnap others morally. And of course, others should not try to kidnap him with morality. Red Luffy only depends on what he thinks is right or wrong, and he needs to be judged. You idiots Marines so-called morality to restrain? Charlotte Linlin. These guys in the world government are not stupid. They just want to use the so-called morality to create a shackle so that it is beneficial to the rule of the world government Kaido. Ha! Linlin sees it thoroughly. Think of it as my fart. Hearing this, Luffy suddenly showed a look of disgust on his face. I'm sorry, I can't let your disgusting fart. As for what Spandam did to Tom, his master and his apprentice, in Luffy's eyes, he's really not as good as a fart. Then, Luffy looked at Frankie. Okay, let's avenge your master. Frankie stepped forward, grabbed the stone pillar tied to Spandam's body, and lifted it directly above his head. You two bastards, do you know who my dad is? Don't think that you will do things without anyone noticing it. My father is Spandine, a high-ranking official in the world government. If you dare to kill me, he will definitely find out. 1. When the time comes, you will just wait for life to be worse than death. Seeing that the begging was hopeless, Spandam roared and made a last desperate effort. I hope his father's prestige can calm down these two guys. However, when he said Spandine's name, Luffy immediately raised his hand. Wait a minute. What did you say your father's name is? Spandine. Seeing Luffy beckoning Frankie to stop, Spandam was overjoyed. Okay, looks like my dad still works. Luffy asked again. Is it the former chief of CP9? Spandam snorted coldly. That's right. Since you already know who my dad is, let me go quickly. Otherwise, my dad's anger is not something you can afford, BD. Damn it. So you're the son of that dog. When Luffy confirmed Spandine's identity, he was furious, and he said to Frankie, "This BD tied another stone pillar to his body, and he will be charged with his father's responsibility." It's okay not to mention Spandine, but as soon as Spandine is mentioned, Luffy gets angry immediately. When Robin told about his life experience to the Straw Hat Pirates, he mentioned Stein. It can be said that this guy is Robin's big enemy. Hearing Luffy say that, Spandam was dumbfounded. What's the situation? Shouldn't you let me go quickly, and then provide me with good food and drink? Why did the situation suddenly take a turn for the worse? Damn it, how did my dad offend you? So much resentment? At first I thought I could rely on my father's prestige to survive, but I didn't expect that my last hole card would make my death even uglier. Damn it, why did my grandma give birth to such a stupid father for me? Soon, Frankie added another stone pillar to Spandam, then raised it above the head and threw it forward suddenly. Spandam let out a desperate roar, then crashed into the sea with a bang, and sank gruntly. Nami, okay, this BD deserves to die. Usopp, yeah, he and his father are damned. Vinsmoke Sanji, great. Revenge for Robin-chan over there. Roronoa Zoro. Sure enough, it's better to kill this kind of villain to relieve my anger, Frankie. Yeah, we should have killed this guy too. Spandam, haha. You won't have this chance again. Sooner or later, I will catch you all. Nico Robin. The next time we meet, even if Luffy doesn't kill you, I will definitely send you to hell. Spandam. Wait till you see me, ha ha ha. Shiki. Ja ha 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 ha. Let you be merciful to him. You deserve to be laughed at by him. The next morning, partners have started to practice in the morning, and Luffy came out of the Mary and lost shipbuilding on the way. Luffy, Kaku, and Califa suddenly stopped his way on. Looking at the three people in front of me, Luffy looked confused, but actually secretly funny. Of course, he knows what the purpose of these three people is, but he can't guess how the other party will act. However, Luffy can't turn a blind eye to the cooperating performance. After all, he is the director and screenwriter of this scene. Why are you so stupid? Since you've already escaped, why come back to give away the head? Luffy rubbed his chin and continued to walk forward calmly. Don't be self-righteous. Although your strength is very strong, but today you placed an order, it's time for you to pay the price. Speaking, Luffy ordered to the two people beside him. Let's go together. Swipe, brush, brush. Three figures rushed towards Luffy in an instant. Luffy is in the middle, Kaku is on the left, Califa is on the right. Is that so? Luffy frowned. It seems to be okay. At least it doesn't look like giving away the head directly. The three of them are also strong in CP9 anyway, and their speed is still very fast in the blink of an eye. They are already approaching Luffy, and Luffy shot directly with lightning. The left hand grabbed Kaku's head, the right hand grabbed Califa's head, and then slammed into the middle. The heads of the two slammed into Luffy's head from the left and right respectively, and they fainted collectively on the spot. On this, Shiki. Jahahaha. I really can't see Trafalgar Law. It looks terrible, but it's not that they're too weak, but that the Straw Hats over there are too strong. Roronoa Zoro. Yes, we fought against them back then, and their strength is by no means weak. On the Mary on deck, seeing that Luffy came back with his arms wrapped around three people, the friends were all stunned. Nami stepped forward and took a look, showing a look of dumbfounding. Huh? Where did you pick them up? Leave away. Usopp brought a bucket of seawater and rushed it directly in the faces of the three people, immediately waking them up. The three woke up leisurely and found that they had been tied up, and they were relieved good. The undercover pre-mission has been completed. Damn, what happened? Why are we tied up again? BD, what's the matter with your strength? There's still work to be done on the surface. The three of Luffy struggled fiercely, and in the end they kept whining. Where is the door fruit ability user? When the three of them got tired of fighting, Luffy began to ask knowingly. I don't know, Luffy said coldly. Kaku gritted his teeth, made a look of hatred, then stopped talking, and Califa roared coquettishly and angrily. That be D, because he was afraid that the goal with us would be too big, so he chose to hide alone. Hi, everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates looks at her suspiciously. Yes, because our undercover mission to the capital of Seven Waters failed. We are now regarded as targets of elimination by the government of a world. It stands to reason that we should be more united at this time, that B.D. Blueno slipped away by himself. Califa had an angry expression. At this time, Kaku also said, "Don't talk about him like that. We have all fallen to this point, and it is not wrong for him to choose to escape alone. After all, it is easier for him to escape alone by relying on his door fruit ability. If we are with us, we will only drag him down." Oh, so it's this routine Luffy has some understanding in his heart. Well, no matter what, the acting skills of these three people are still online, as expected of actors trained by CP9. Oh, where are the secret agents? Luffy looked at the three of them. Then why did the three of you come back to give away the head? Kaku took a deep breath and said depressedly, "How do we know that you are so strong? Just one face-to-face kills the three of us in seconds. Do you know how outrageous this is? We are CP9. Califa also added. Luffy picked his ears. Is there anything special about CP9? Who made the rule that you can't be knocked out? Kaku and Califa are like frosted eggplants, all right. We're not on the same channel at all. Hey, Straw Hat." At this time, Luffy suddenly looked at Luffy. Luffy pursed her lips. "Speak up if you have something to say. Don't act like it." The corner of Luffy's mouth twitched slightly, and he said, "Don't you want the training method of Marine 6 styles? Say conditions," Luffy said impatiently. Hearing this, Luffy was taken aback for a moment. "Good guy, it's really easy to talk to smart people." Luffy looked at Luffy. "Okay, since you are a straightforward person, then I will go straight. Let the three of us stay on your boat." 2.2 Nanny, you are taking us to an immediate refuge. As the only third insider on board, Usopp immediately started acting Zoro, who doesn't know the truth. Look at the three of them vigilantly. "You guys are thinking too much. We, the Straw Hat Pirates, can't just accept people." Another melon-eating crowd who didn't know the truth, Sanji, became angry. "Idiot green algae, what are you doing? Hurry up and welcome Ms. Califa to join us." Duan. Nami knocks Sanji down with a punch, then says, "Luffy will decide." The CP9-3, of course, also know that the final decision is in Luffy's hands, and the four of them immediately looked at Luffy. Luffy rubbed his chin, thought for a while, then looked at Usopp. Usopp understood and said, "Luffy, they're using us. Never trust them." At this time, Luffy said, "Yes, we are using your great strength to seek shelter, but we are not living for nothing. Marine 6 styles is the entrance fee we paid. Besides, Ahikaku is still an excellent shipbuilder. We are not rich and useless. I'm a qualified accountant and assistant. I can handle all the miscellaneous documents and miscellaneous matters very well." Califa also hurriedly explained her own advantages. "Stop joking. How can I trust you to be shipwrights and handle documents?" Luffy shook his head immediately, and then looked at the three of them. "However, our new ship is very big, and we lack cleaners. If you are willing to be cleaners, then I can take you in." "Cleaner?" The three of CP9 were taken aback. This is a bit far from what the three of them expected, but now is not the time to dislike this or that. Luffy gritted his teeth. "Okay, we are willing to be cleaners." Chapter 126. The progress of the White Frame has reached the current state. Please subscribe. Capone Beach. Hey, they thought they acted well. Basil Hawkins. They did really well, but they didn't know they were acting in the script that Red Luffy wrote for them. Jewelry Polly. Yes. We are able to be so thorough because we are bystanders. If you try to put yourself into their roles, I guess you can't even do half of them. Trafalgar Law. This third brother is so pitiful. He tried every means to squeeze in, and finally became a cleaner Scalacci man-up. They must be still secretly happy in their hearts. Ah, blah blah. Kong. What a bunch of idiots. Roxy, Zebek. Can this be blamed on them? Isn't the rule given by the world's government too stupid? As long as it is an order issued by the CP9 chief, it must be carried out regardless of whether it is right or wrong. If it is stupid, it is also the five elders. Be an old turtle XIN. GOLD Roger. Ha, that's right. Izambaron v. Nashil Langshung. You can only enjoy your mouth. If you have the ability, come to Mariehua and talk about it in front of us. Shiki, damn. Say you're stupid. You still have to prove it to us? What idiot would take the initiative to go to someone else's site to mock them? Why don't you go to the Four Emperors site to give Four Emperors a bad mouth? Charlotte Linlin, aha. If he dares to come, I will make him a home eyes. The Straw Hat Pirate stayed in the capital of Seven Waters for another month. The new ship is finally launched. Because it was built by Frankie himself, Luffy gave Frankie the opportunity to name this ship. The name, Frankie actually thought of it a long time ago. 1,000 Miles of Sunshine. When this giant ship entered the sea, a large amount of sea water was instantly displaced. In addition, the melee has also been strengthened, using the latest treasure tree alloy to coat the whole body of the melee with a layer of 10 centimeters thick film, which greatly improves the durability of the melee. Then the power system also adds a blower shell power under Frankie's perfect technology. You know, on the sea, the most indispensable thing is the wind. Frankie evenly divided the Beauty's power blast shells into 2 batches. When one batch of blast shells run out of power, another batch of blast shells will start automatically. Because when the ship is galloping, it will generate a strong wind force and airflow. At this time, the first batch of wind shells.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.